Ladies and gents, welcome back to EACS 2025 here on COD Mobile. It's a big day for Group C. We've got a lot of action coming up this evening, another double header. But before we dive into the ins and outs of what's going to happen tonight, I think we'll do a few introductions. My name is Major, and joining me is a very handsome man who I've not had the pleasure of casting with before. Verdicts, how are you, brother?
Oh man, you're making me blush. I've done this several times, but the first time here with Major, I'm feeling just in awe. I mean, of course, we're here all for one big journey, and obviously it's day 2 technically of Group C here for the EACS. We're here for the action for Call of Duty Mobile, nonetheless, and to be on stage here dancing live with you, buddy. I'm super excited about what we got coming up.
Yeah, so don't mention dancing because otherwise chat might ask for something and they don't want to see it. It's not pretty, but yeah, we'll have a look though in towards obviously our double header. We'll quickly touch on the games that happened last week though. Verdicts, obviously some probably straightforward results. Animus, the team, obviously being relatively new to COD Mobile, they were the team that I was kind of flagged up as saying, right, these are probably the boys to watch in this group. 2-0 from them. And then the team that they're coming up against tonight in Instinct, a 2-0 for them as well. So we're kind of getting to that tipping point now in the group where essentially we've got two teams fighting for that top spot, and this game that we've got coming up first is gonna be a big one.
No, absolutely. This is probably going to be one of those groups that are going to be decided in a bout of two teams who are going to have to go head to head with each other and come out on top. Obviously, both of these teams are undefeated. It's not going to be the case by the end of the night. You're favoring Animus. Everyone else who's been watching also favoring Animus. We looked at a lot of that Instinct roster, though, and they handled business against Nonagon last week. This week, They've got their work cut out for them. So I'm not completely discounting them, but I'm 100% on board with you with what you say there. It's, may the best team win. But we all have, a little bit of inches and hunches to who we, think, are going to get the job done.
Yeah, we'll dive into the teams. Obviously, Animus being that team that is arguably the favourite. We'll have a look at the 5 players that they do have. One player that was highlighted to myself, shout out Brody again, was the man in Saywo. Obviously, he's been touted as one of the better players within EU at the moment, and he's kind of a player that seems to be kind of on people's radar. Obviously, with your experience within COD Mobile, be interested to get your thoughts actually on him from kind of the years that you've casted. Is that the case that this kid is meant to be something pretty decent within EU?
Oh, absolutely. He's the real deal. I've only had the luxury of casting him only one time so far. He's a relatively new character to the scene, and does he bring the hammer with him? Absolutely. He participated in one of the community events that Bobby ran last week, and an absolute blast he had. Fried the entire lobbies that he was in, and this is like multiple region top players that were competing and participating at the same time. So if he's able to handle the zone there, which we saw him handle the zone last week in his debut, he's certainly going to be able to handle his own from here on out. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he brings to the table as well as his team. Major, it's about to go down here in a moment.
Yeah, we'll have a look at Group C at the standings at the moment. Obviously, we've only had one game under our belt so far, but you can see in the bottom left there, Instinct and Animus, they are currently sat atop of the group with a 2-0 map count. And obviously, in these group games, Verdicts, you've got to hit the ground running. Really, you've got 3 games essentially to push you up into that bracket. Both teams have done kind of the dirty work in terms of the simple work that they've done so far, coming up against the two teams that are arguably not the favourites within the group. But this is pretty much the arguably the Titan match here to kind of argue who's going to top that group and kind of get that more preferred seeding.
Absolutely. We'll take a look at the Instinct roster, see what they're going to be bringing to the table now as they've got the work cut out ahead of them. We'll see as Device, who MVP'd a majority of the games last week.
Yeah.
And when I say majority, every game last week, he handled business. Man just brings a certain element to the table that is just undeniable. Charisma as well. Mantra, Eor, and VPEX going to be coming through for that starting 5, and they're going to be heading face-to-face against an Animus roster that is just as thirsty and hungry as they are.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of Device was the one last week who kind of just in terms of stats, obviously kills kind of don't necessarily mean everything, but it feels like on COD Mobile, it gives your team a lot of opportunity in respawn to be able to get a lot of time on the board because you don't have the timer to play with. But it's going to be a different kettle of fish in this series. Let's not beat around the bush. We'll have a look at the Animus roster that is going to be representing them for this series, and that is going to, of course, consist of I believe is it Toltz maybe Toltz, K-Roo, Says, Shark, and that man Saywell as well. And obviously the subs, I believe Gothilla was playing last week, had a relatively decent series. But is this the core 5 that you're anticipating to see kind of going forwards within the tournament, or is it a case of maybe Nox and Gothilla might be asked to step in quite frequently?
Oh, I don't. For this particular matchup, I'm not sure what to expect out of it. I know that Instinct again handled business on last Thursday. This is a new Thursday, and this is a new roster that they've got to go against. Judging based off the roster they put together so far, throwing Kairu in there is absolutely a grand slam. That is 100% going to fit. He's a Slayer as well, just as well as Seiwo. Says and Shark are dogs. I'm not 100% sure who Taltz is, but I do know that this particular roster is missing a name that was a substitute for the past, week or two. And then also with Narcs and Gothilla not being on, the starting 5, maybe they're just trying to switch things up. This is the only thing that comes to mind. Or maybe it was some of that pre-broadcast chatter that we had where, we were talking about sometimes EU does things that may not necessarily, reflect their complete potential per se.
Yeah, we'll see what they bring. We'll see what they bring, and obviously looking forward into the series. We'll have a look at the maps, guys. So best of 3 as per usual in these group games, and we've got a few maps. Obviously, one thing we were kind of touching on before we went live was obviously the beauty of COD Mobile bringing in those kind of those old school maps. Crossfire going to be that control map 3, Hacienda map 1, firing range map 2. And I suppose I'll try not to put you on the spot too much verdicts on this one, but it would be good to see that crossfire control. Obviously, we didn't get any map 3s last week. Do you anticipate that Instinct might be able to at least take a map off Animus from what you saw last week?
Based off what we saw last week, no, I don't think so. I think this is like the top dogs, regardless of what roster that they put together. Any of those 7 players at any given time could be tossed into the pits and absolutely just handle business. I have a strong feeling that this one's going to be over in 2. I'm open for, changing in my mind. Obviously, the gameplay and the gunny's got to be reflective of, an Instinct come in and just toss a complete curveball and take us to that. Hell, I could take it 2-0. Who knows what's going to happen? But if my predictions or my gut instinct, not instinct, that was a terrible play on words. That's not what I was meant to go for. Yeah, I have a strong feeling that Animus is going to come through and take this in a 2-0 series. I don't think we're going to get to see that crossfire today in this particular matchup. And I know that's pretty sour for you because you haven't seen that one in 10 years, you said?
Yeah, I can't remember the last time. It was literally COD 4, I think, was the last time that I had any touch on that map. So yeah, that we're talking age now, mate. I'm old as anything. So yeah, it'd be good to see that map 3. If we do get it, though, that'll be the main question. But obviously, kind of looking into map 1. One thing that kind of I noticed from the games last week with COD Mobile and COD Mobile in general is Hardpoint, it seems, regardless of the map, is so fast paced because you've got the 5-man teams. You've got that extra kind of rate of engagement. Obviously, kind of leaning on my experience from COD multiplayer being 4v4. Hacienda's a relatively fast map with 8 players on the map, let alone when you've got 10 of them. And I think kind of you kind of spoke about the slaying ability that kind of comes into these teams and how much of an impact it has. And it wouldn't surprise me if on a Hassi map 1, those players that put up the big numbers really do grant their team a hell of a lot of time on some of these hills.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. Sometimes the sling can get you in trouble, too, because, the amount of times that spawns split out, it could just be all chaos. But, the gunny always prevails. If you're getting into a map like Hacienda and you're able to win, 1s, 2s, 3s, at a time, there's no way that you're going to be able to get a break on, say, a garage P2. P3 you can try to contest, but, again, it's out in the open. A map like this is going to play super fast. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be chaotic. I know. Take a look at Summit last week. That was probably the fastest pace you're going to see in all of Call of Duty Mobile. Maybe Standoff. Standoff is pretty fast paced as well. But Hacienda is going to be right up there too. It's going to be all slaying, all running and gunning. And then again, this is an EU versus African matchup. You're going to see some hostility in this one. There's probably going to be some body shots. You're probably going to see a few crazy things that come out of the bluff field. But we're all here for it. That's exactly why we love Call of Duty Mobile.
I was going to say that if we can make storylines, that I'm here for it. If we can, sometimes me and Pablo, who's a good friend of mine, we just used to make stuff up on Twitter just to see if we could throw something in and get a few body shots out of everyone. So it'll be good to see if we get some good passionate body shots going in this one. But I mean, that map one I think is probably going to be the marker. I think with these two teams, kind of something that we touched on in multiplayer is a P1, if one team tends to dominate a P1, we know kind of how heavily contested the kind of the mechanics behind the P1 are supposed to be, and that obviously you play for the kills, don't necessarily play for a huge amount of time. You're obviously focusing more on the rotations to that P2 side of the map. So I think that break off might be, obviously you don't like to jump the gun, but it's going to be kind of the important factor, I think, in this one. I think if we go straight into a map 1 and Animus just run through instinct and maybe flip spawns, obviously we'll have a look as we do now load into map 1 to see who's going to spawn on that P2 side. But I would worry for instinct if that first P1 is a bit of a bloodbath and they get blown out a little bit. Obviously, you don't like to count teams out right off the map, but it can be quite a good marker for what you're going to see potentially coming up in the map and the series.
It's not going to be clean after this. Slate is going to be absolutely broken. They're going to bring the sledgehammers in. They're just going to absolutely crush it all to hell and back. Animus with an astounding second place ranking in the EACS European section, I would assume. And then the ranking there for Instinct, not quite on board just yet. We'll see if they can fare well in this one. They've got a 4.5 marker for their rating. So if they put on today, that best performance should be determined for this one. That would be their rap sheet to put underneath their resume.
Yeah, I think they're going to really, really lean on the likes of Device to have a good map, at least kind of go toe-to-toe with the likes of Sawo and those guys, because otherwise, if your heavy hitters aren't putting the numbers up that they normally do, usually the players that tend to kind of soak up the hill time, do the dirty work, play for spawns, tend not to have that kind of that window of opportunity to kind of make the plays that they normally would, and as a result of it, like hills can chain pretty quickly. Obviously, P3 to P4, Hacienda is kind of infamous in multiplayer for getting a huge chunk of time if those teams rotate late, which some teams can sometimes do when they get caught up in kind of the chaotic gunfights that you get in Hacienda, especially when you get towards kind of the squeaky bum part of the map, when you start going 200 to 200 and then players try to kind of bottleneck onto one hill without thinking for the next one. I think that's when we can potentially see kind of the heads up plays. And I suppose verdicts you'd expect really that the guys of Animus are going to be pretty much, when it comes to fundamentals and making those calls to rotate early, they should be pretty much on top of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this one's a pretty clean and dry slate. This is one of those matches where you've got a different roster coming in. They want to put their best foot forward. They want to make sure that their names are being, recognized here in this competition and trying to solidify a starting position and possibly the best team in this event, as well as, in the entire continent. We'll see how they, do, as we're going to go ahead and hop on into it. Hold on, folks. We're going to go ahead and reset and send it back. So just like when I was, about to set that gunfire ablaze up sky, looks like we're going to get a little bit of a postponement. We're still going to get to see Hacienda. We're just not going to see the players in it just yet.
We just have to imagine the time being them just lots of all the gun skins, all the pretty colors. Because that is one thing that I do love about COD Mobile is the entertainment factor just from watching it with regards to kind of the operators as well. Like in multiplayer, there's no operators. It is literally man with gun. That's it. There's no kind of there's no kind of additional factor. And I suppose that's kind of another area. But it's again, I'm going to pick your brain all evening for this, to be honest, because it would be good to get your kind of your views on this. I think, well, I would assume that obviously the core kind of mechanics of the game are all well and good, but if you've got players that can utilize those operators very, very efficiently, again, that's kind of where the ceiling in COD Mobile is raised a little bit more, because they can completely change a map, change a hill, especially on respawns when you've got the likes of the War Machine, the Sparrow being able to do kind of that AoE and at least push teams off certain hills and then subsequently get a pick and spawn them out. So I assume from your years of watching, the operators factor is quite a large one in COD Mobile.
No, it's absolutely huge. It got so big where, the competitive team finally started to, gravitate towards only having one operator, uniquely to each player. So in the beginning, it was everybody just spamming what they can get, their OP hands on. But hang tight, everybody. We got a few issues going on in the background for lobby. Hopefully we'll get that settled down. But to answer your question, yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's pivotal. And when you're going to choose to pop your operator, when your team needs it the most, are you able to earn that operator faster? Yeah. If you're getting all of these engagements on the map, you're getting all these assists, those points add up and stacking in towards getting your operator. So absolutely, pick my brain about it. I'm probably not the smartest in COD sense, but I've been around, enough to know when, you shouldn't pop your auto or when you should pop your operator. Obviously, I'm not a pro player. They're on the stage playing, but I mean, as outsiders, we always have like a say, like, oh, he could have waited, or that was a perfect timing. It's all perspective, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I think it's probably just a double-edged sword. I think because what I've noticed with operators is it's very easy to kind of try and hold on for that one perfect moment for when you can potentially use it, and then as a result of it, like you say, 2-3 hills go past where you could have essentially re-earned it
Exactly.
for that moment. So it's kind of one where you can kind of make an argument for both, I suppose. Obviously, the players that are kind of putting up the big numbers and obviously earning them faster, you would anticipate that when they get them, the kind of instinct to just pop them and try and use them in the moment, knowing that they're going to earn another one relatively quickly, is probably going to be more frequent for those kind of players. And then the ones who don't necessarily earn them as quickly, or the ones that are using the ones that you can't earn as fast, then kind of try to hold on to them. But there is a bit of a trap, isn't there, where you can sit there waiting for that one perfect moment, and then we know what COD timing is like. The second you pull it out, shot in the back, spawn is horrendous and just completely ruins you.
That's also a double-edged sword too, because in Call of Duty Mobile, I've always been like I've always been a huge, like, COD timing is everything. But in Call of Duty Mobile, I feel like you create your own timing. In the most case, the most skilled players find themselves in the perfect opportunities, making big time plays in big time games, and knowing when is the right appropriate time. So is it COD timing or is it skill? I've always had this debate, and I've always felt like that's like a sixth sense. And whoever's great at Call of Duty is just going to have that sixth sense, and it's just going to roll into the game, and it's just going to flow so perfectly. You're not even going to notice what COD timing is. So I mean, I'm a huge superstitious guy when it comes to COD timing, but I'm also like, man, damn, this guy's just actually 2,000 IQ. I can't even comprehend it. Like, that was just such a big brain play. But we are getting lobby set up again. Obviously, we want to get this rocking and rolling. We're not trying to hold you all back. We're not trying to yap all day. I'm not trying to have my brain picked all afternoon either. But yeah.
Sorry, man.
I mean, come on now. He's in there dissecting. You think we want to be doing this? No, this is what we're here for. This is, we're going through the game of Call of Duty Mobile. Obviously, Major is week as well.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm just picking at that as well. Anything you want to ask, man, just toss it out there. I am, I'm not a ball of information, but I am. I will provide you what I got.
No, I appreciate it, but I'm literally, for probably the next few months, I'm just going to enter like pure sponge mode, and personal SpongeBob impression, just to try and get as much of it in as possible. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So we'll hopefully be getting into map 1 very, very shortly, and hopefully we get a good competitive game between the two teams. As you mentioned, kind of the guys from EU do have a tendency, but we're straight in, mate. There's no messing about. Gunfights galore, and hopefully we get a good map under our belt here.
Ooh, yeah, this is exactly what we anticipate. We want to see it all the action here in P1. It tells the tale of many things here in this Call of Duty Mobile scene. You get a little bit of that time, you're starting to feel a little good. You're starting to feel a little hype. Out of the first 30 seconds on through, we've got a massive chunk. Well, I say massive, but it's massive already for Instinct. They've got a commanding lead so far, 15 seconds to 0. And Animus, a little bit of a struggle bus off the rip. It looks like they're just trying to have their footing here on the objective and get the kills to go along with it.
Yeah, so with the VMP, he's going to just whiz around amongst all the havoc and at least grab a couple of picks. Again, keep an eye on that mini-map. That's going to be the main thing we're going to be watching out for. Charisma with a nice 2-piece, but Taltz is going to be trading one back as well. So the next hill already, that it's not entirely popped just yet. You can already see there's some big gunfights going over towards it. I believe it's Sawo on the side of Animus, who's going to be rotating a little bit later, but 2 of his teammates are already going to be there, and 3 seconds remaining, and you can see those blue arrows from Animus looking as though they're going to have a few players ready to run at.
Yep, they got a little bit of a line of defense of around it too. The secret hit's going to be shut down. That's going to be 2 in the feed there for Shark. Massive to open up this P2 entry. They're going to be able to gain the lead and more. Now the hit is coming from the backside. Looking like the backside of the driveway is where we're going to see that player device taking down Kairu, and that's going to be the floodgates busted wide open. Will they be able to get the break? 2 are in. The contest not necessarily coming through just yet. They're well calculating the kills, and it's good. Only 1 player left to deal with, and that's going to be on the outskirts. Says Kairu drop. break is coming through. This is an already competitive game starting off. We are looking pretty solid so far, Major.
Yeah, and I think the smoke from Instinct as well. I assume it was an Instinct smoke anyway, because it literally offered them the opportunity just to get straight in towards the hill. Nades being cooked to see if they can grab a couple of more picks, as they are still spawning out the back. So Animus are going to have to try and punch their way through the front. Can they lean on those players? But at the moment, the kill feed is very much favouring Instinct. Those players on the power positions, on those headies, able to win those engagements. And if you're the boys of Instinct, that's a pretty solid P2. But one thing they don't have, though, is that rotation towards P3.
Oh, they're going to be fighting for it. Right now, it's 5 seconds before it does pop. It is going to be a massive blue influence. Got topside options control, as well as some of these corridors. It's going to be coming from the well. Sawo going to be called out on the rotation. It's Mantra picking up a big kill, and here comes the contest. This is big kills coming through for both Mantra and his crew. Kairu and Todd's going to be getting involved, but it's the death machine's going to be popped. It's going to be reset, as he did not fire a shot. And already a little bit of a massive influx of kills coming in, going back and forth. It is Instinct with a little bit of a lead as of right now. Animus still very much showing control of the spawns.
Yeah, they are still spawning over towards Tin, and it is now going to benefit them. But there's only 30 seconds left on this hill, and already you can see now that those players looking to try and just potentially free roam and pick up a couple of players. The equalizer's now out. Nice shots there from Charisma, able to at least grab one, with the combo, and it's going to be a couple of kills actually that he's able just to at least alleviate a little bit of pressure on his team. We are going to see those spawns now completely flip though, but Animus with a little bit of time, a big contest. And again, it's just going to be a case with 5 seconds remaining. You're going to have a big gunfight now coming up here for Device. Is he going to spot those players? No, he's not. Kairu's going to shut him down, and it looks as though that control over towards P4 will at least be for the boys in blue.
Yeah, it will be indeed. Foot race over to the objective. Big shutdown kills there for Kairu. He shuts down the kill leader. I would say kill leader for the lobby. It's going to be Charisma on the right-hand side of the screen. Device doing everything he can. VPEC's going to come through, and just as that is going to be Nades and Hunter Killers coming through for a massive 2-kill advantage going in favor of Animus. So they're still in the driver's seat. 25 seconds advantage rolling into it. It looks like they're going to be able to continue to grasp the lead and run away with it. Rocks looking like a shutdown so far, so good. Player number 5, Eru, is going to be the last hope there for a contest. Is going to get shut down. And just like that, it's going to be a Animus commanding lead now rolling into the last 20 seconds of this objective.
Yeah, this is the difficulty with P4. The amount of times you can kind of just sledgehammer the front of the hill, it can just punish you over and over again. And with 5v5, you can just see the reinforcements are just always on the hill for Animus. There wasn't a single second pretty much that goes on the board there for Instinct. They're still potentially toying with the idea of at least maybe getting a couple of seconds of scrap time, but Sawo shuts down any opportunity for that. And again, this middle map is going to be very much in control of the boys of Animus. A couple of kills coming through though for Charisma is just going to grant them an opportunity just to get a little bit of top control. See that man in the hill, and Shark will go down, and it will be a case of Animus with a sizable cushion going in towards the second rotation.
Yeah, this is where things get a little, mixy though. P1 last time around went favorably in the side of Instinct. Right now, it's going to be completely controlled in blue. Animus trying to continue on with this lead, not trying to give away anything for free. And up top, they're getting blasted. 3 in the feed in yellow. That's going to be hill time collected there for Instinct. Shark going to be able to find a 2. Going to be able to get the turn and burn on one as well there too. Is going to be called out. Charisma going to be able to collect as well with VPEX. Hill's going to be in yellow. Instinct trying to rack it on through. Can they make the comeback here? Major looking pretty solid so far.
Yeah, Talk's just going to get one before he does finally go down. But again, that all-important rotation. Animus have got the spawns ready for new. It looks as though everyone's still pretty much apart from, I believe it's Kairu, who's going to be fighting over towards the new hill with 2 of his other teammates. But they do at least clear those players off. But now the important play might potentially come from Charisma in the back. He's looking to try and maybe get some good timing out towards the back, over towards Garage. He does get spotted, though. That's the main thing. And that player spawning up right next to him. He's actually going to win the gunfight here. So really big moment there for him. Doesn't stay alive in the back, though. And you can see the spawns. It would have been absolutely huge if he managed to play his life there. But the boys of Animus winning their engagement. So you can see they're already trying to push out towards this P4 area. But they've got to be careful not to get flipped, because those yellow arrows of Instinct still in the back.
Massive line of defense on fleek. There's nothing coming through. 1 kill in yellow. It's Mantra. They're trying to mount a little bit of a break through the smoke. They're going to get shut down. Device finds 2, but it's Sawo with an answer back almost instantly. A massive wave of kills coming through there for the boys in blue. Animus continuing to run away with it, doubling the points of their opponents. And Tots is now on the inside with it. Tempest does get shut down, and that's a massive kill feed that's going to flip the spawns as well as get everybody out of the objective. Instinct are back on the prowl.
Yeah, so a little bit of scrap time might still be granted to them unless Sawo is able to clear off pretty much everyone. There's one for the man, looking for the second through the smoke, and he will manage to fly around and get the second as well. So regardless of Instinct throwing additional bodies at that scrap time, Sawo completely shuts them down. Nothing comes of it, and more importantly, the pinch now over towards the new hill is going to be the important gunfight. Number 5, Ayor in the back of Tin. He gets snuffed out by Toltz, and it looks as though they're going to throw some more bodies up from the top side of the hill, and they do a really good job. Actually, the kill feed, though, is still lit up from this man here, Sawo. Every single engagement seems to be going his favour. He's whizzing round the map, and it will still be Animus through all the carnage, soaking up the time.
Mantra tucked away in the corner, played his life to the fullest. Wait for the cavalry to come through. Nobody comes back in. Spawns now going to be located on the south side there of that tin building. Ayor going to be taking a big gunfight. Sawu going to be just shutting them down. And now it's just all about contesting because you can't find the kills enough to clear the hill. Instinct are just hanging on by a grit right now, and it's just not looking good. Animus continue to run away with it. Almost into that 200 points deficit, just getting completely out of hand. Device trying to do something with the contest is going to get shut down as well, and Kairu was on a spree. 5 in a row. With the gun, he make it 6. Rotation overthrew. It's a foot race to new. It does look like the squad of Instinct are going to be able to have the advantage. How long do they hold it for?
Yeah, what they're going to try and use, they're going to invest the Hellstorm actually, so Mantra's going to fall. They are going to manage to push through open. Device is going to win a really big gunfight though, and you can see now the operator just going to get popped by Saze. He's going to try and just get everyone off of that hill, and that is exactly what the operators can do, just clear that space. They've cleared everyone off, and although Instinct rotated early, that operator has just pushed them straight back off of it again.
Yeah, this is just Animus doing a great job of contesting even when they don't have the firepower, and surely enough firepower comes through. You got the operator, you got the Type 63 there, and stays his hand. He's absolutely running house. Going to be able to pick up a secondary. And inside of that staircase, he's going to win another gunfight. He had VPEC shut down, Device shut down as well. Kairu absolutely running house. Tots just to insult the injury. Going to be able to pull the Tempest out. Not going to be able to find much with it. Nonetheless, teammates there are going to be able to pick up the slack. 2 big kills going to come through in yellow, but it's still a contest for Sawo, who's going to be able to find a little bit of relief there from Saze in the last 6 seconds. Going to put them in contention. Only 19 seconds to close it out.
Yeah, and I think it was 41 elims, I'm pretty sure I just saw there from K. Russo. He's just absolutely churning through players at the moment. You can see Vepex, 21 to his name. His teammate's going to have to try and ramp it up a little bit as we go in towards that 3rd rotation. Animus, they're on the P1, and they only need 18 seconds to go for this one to be done. You're looking at the boys to try and push in through you. Nothing comes of it, and with 15 seconds left, it is do or die now for Instinct. Everyone has got to try and fly towards the hill, but that kill feed is so blue, and this map looks done.
Yeah, this one's posted. 8 seconds left to go. Not a bit of room for error for the side of Instinct. They got to be flawless on the way through, and they have not been flawless to the first 2 sets of hills so far. So it's going to be trying to get involved to try and shut this one down. The top side's now going to be evacuated. It's going to be Sawo who's going to be able to find a 2-piece there. This could be the finishing touches. Device onto the objective. He is going to get shut down though, so Sawo going to get shut down rather. And Kill's going to be continuing to light up in yellow. So there's still a little bit of fight left in here in this dog. Instinct trying to hold on by a thread. How much longer can they be perfect?
Yeah, they've got to pretty much have the world's most perfect hardpoint game now and again. You're looking at Animus. They're ready to go in new. Shark's going to be maybe keeping an eye on Small Door as Saze is watching out the back. There's going to be 3 players from Instinct that are going to try and fly their way in towards the hill. So Saze, there you go. There's another operator that's just able to rack off a few kills. Those players still spawning in the back, but unfortunately for them, Animus are still on the time. And with 2 seconds remaining, that will be that. 250, 122 in the end. Animus, very comfortable map 1 by the looks of it there, mate. It was a pretty much a bloodbath for large portions of that game. And the guys from EU just kind of demonstrating why they are arguably the top dog in this group.
They had us through the first 3 hills. After that, it was rocks shut down. I mean, complete contest. Even if you weren't earning points, if you were Animus, you were contesting, which was denying points. They commanded a very dramatic lead all the way through from there. Instinct just not being able to pull the foot off the throat afterwards. So take a look at the post-action report. Says 48 and 27 with a minute on the clock right underneath them. The man we were talking about earlier, Sawo, minute 55 with a 41 and 30 KD. I mean, this is about as, clean cut as of a game as you can get. This is not per se their starting 5, but the 5 that they put forward, and they, as I mentioned earlier, came here to handle business, and they did just that.
Yeah, and there were kind of glimmers of opportunity that we saw kind of for the boys of Instinct, but every single time it looked as though they had a rotation. I think the P4 was kind of the nail in the coffin for me, where they had 3-4 players ready to rotate. We saw that operator War Machine out, cleared everyone off the point, and it looked as though kind of the boys from Animus just kind of, again, we spoke kind of before the map started about being able to hold on to the operators for the right moment, and it looked as though pretty much Animus were that kind of finely oiled machine where they know when to use the operators, and the kills that were coming through for them, kind of regardless of them, were always looking like a good opportunity to break the hill. And I think the operator on that P4 that just kind of saw the final kind of shining light potentially for Instinct kind of dim a little bit was kind of the be-all end-all on that map there. It just looked as though everything that they did with regards to their operators was just well timed to pretty much perfection.
Absolutely. Again, it's a clean-cut game. You got a roster that you want to see perform. You want to get the best out of it. You've got 2 players being entered in that were not the same from last week. And what better way of showing what you're capable of than to just come through and execute on, the controllables. They get there a majority of the time for early rotations, including that P2. But again, you said it earlier, the P4 rotations were just on point. There was just no stopping them. So Animus come through. They handle business as we expected there in game number 1. Will they be able to do the same thing here in game 2? Because this is where the synergy and the kind of comms and the reliance on who to trust in what situations and map. It's certainly going to be a question to be answered. We're going to find out here momentarily as we get geared up for game 2. It's Firing Range Search and Destroy. It's certainly going to be a classic.
Yeah, and obviously it's a very small map. Let's be honest with regards to kind of the geography of it. So you'd anticipate kind of a lot of fairly quick first bloods. Obviously, don't know whether or not. Obviously, from my experience, haven't casted this map, Verdict. So I'll lean on you a little bit for this with regards to obviously respawns. You wouldn't anticipate necessarily that you're going to see kind of the likes of a Tundra coming out, but then potentially when it comes to first bloods and being able to kind of make the plays and the picks, search and destroy. Especially on this map, is that something we tend to see? Is the kind of the Tundra plays where you're able to kind of hold those angles, get those picks relatively straightforward?
No, yeah, absolutely. You're going to be looking at very least 1 sniper piece, maybe 2 on the Animus side of things. Maybe not though, because I don't know who else would snipe outside of Saze. I mean, we saw him drop 18 last week.
Yeah.
Very capable of doing it on a map like this too, because everything that you see in front of you, it's all paper mache. It's all wall bangable. And there are some points on the map that you can only wall bang from one side. So it's just kind of crazy to see what kind of sniper angles you're going to be seeing. You might see some, maybe, some Odins being spammed in there too. But your primary players, your points of, stress are definitely going to be Saze on, the Animus side of things. And then of course Device on the flip side of it.
Yeah, so the kind of the ability for Saze to just completely flip a map on his head, again, not been around the scene long, but it was pretty apparent that he was just able to pick off 1-2 players at a time. Anything kind of that was a bit of a freebie thrown his way, essentially, he just took it like arms wide open. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how consistently he can keep that going, obviously, against an Instinct roster, which, again, not necessarily the strongest when it comes to kind of player for player, but it'd be interesting as well to see kind of the style of play that both of the teams kind of tend to stick with. Obviously, going to search and destroy, the pacing completely flips. And then again, to see who's kind of on that offensive side first. It wouldn't surprise me because I think what we saw last week when Animus were playing Search, they were on the defense first, and it kind of allowed the other team to just kind of play it slowly, play for picks. And then as soon as the sides flipped and Animus were on the offense, you saw 4 5-man hits straight onto the site. So they don't really hesitate with regards to kind of setting the pacing on Search and Destroy, regardless of the fact that they don't have respawns.
Yeah, these first few rounds are going to be tests of what you can get away with. Obviously, with a lethal sniper on one side of the map, it is just damn near impossible to make transitions. Smokes are going to be crucial. First 6 rounds on through, we're about to find out who's going to be on the attack and who's going to be on the defense. If it's anything like it was last week, you're going to be banking on the defense to be relying on Saze to find those, cross kills and some of those call outs. He'll probably be lurking in the backside of American, maybe, the backside of the trailer, waiting for those, those pushes, peeking through the middle of the map. If I'm the side of Instinct, I mean, that's, surely a call to make your way towards that B side of the map where we're at right now, the jungle site. But you gotta be crazy to think that should be for free. So
yeah,
we'll see how it pans out and see how it plays out. Obviously, this is going to be a game changer for Instinct if they can't get their act together. Can they take us to a game 3? Let's go ahead and find out.
Yeah, so Instinct, they are going to be that team on the offense first. We can see on the minimap all the tacticals, all the nades going out just to try and have a feel for it. Says with the Tundra in hand, Shock Horror. We'll see if he can manage to maybe get a couple of picks as those players are looking to try and challenge him down the left side of the map. And it's actually going to be Device and Vepex that are able to pick the first Sayway with some very quick trades. And already we're down a few lives for both teams.
Wow, that was a bold push right in the middle of the map, right in the middle of the day. Right here in the firing range, some good shots coming through. It's going to leave us in a 2v2. Bomb's been planted. 40 seconds and that bomb will go boom. Here comes Hop Up. Trying to see what he can get away with through the middle of that window. Going to be forced back. You are holding down the trailer, and all of a sudden they're trying to pounce on their prey. Where they're going to attack. It's going to be Cairo. Finds the first blood there onto it, and here comes Mantra throwing his life. Sawo going to be able to win the one, and that is going to be at 20 seconds remaining. Plenty of time to get that defuse. A great wrap up there for Animus.
Yeah, really nice work as well. Just kind of, obviously, when that bomb went down, the first thing they did was kind of playing for that information to see where those players were and just kind of seeing them inside that wood building. Kind of gave them a bit of an opportunity. You could see what Instinct were trying to do and kind of playing a little bit back to back, but it was really good work actually from Kairi. Kind of the opportunity that you get with that sniper is being able to kind of hold a bit of a cruddy angle and then play for that first pick, and that is exactly what happened to them. And this is exactly what paid off. So again, round two going to ensue, and it looks as though that bomb in the hand of Mantra is just going to maybe again toying with the idea of maybe going to 8.
It's a possibility. I didn't necessarily dislike the push last time around. They got the bomb plant to go along with it quickly, but Device going to be finding 2-piece involved there. Backlines being held by Mantra. They're looking for anybody who's going to be creeping through the backlines, and right now it's a direct hit to the front. Everyone's still left in the spawn there for Animus. Bomb's been shut down for the time being. Someone's going to have to collect it and finish the job. We'll see if it gets done now with 1:20 left to go. The more time that occurs here through this, it's just more time for mistakes to be made. We'll see if Instinct can execute and get this bomb plant down.
Yeah, so, well, there you go. There's the pick. Vepex had the bomb for about half a second before his head got whipped off. Says he's going to pick Mantra off as well. So now you're looking at a 2 versus 3 in favour of Animus. That bomb's still not down as well. So 1 minute left on the clock. You see that the boys from Animus, again, just playing patiently. They're essentially playing off of the information that they can find. 2 players left up, though. They're going to make the chow. There's one for the Device. Can he get the second? He can. Nice work from him. And now it leaves Says in the 1 versus 2.
Oh, they don't know where he's at either. Bomb's going to be collected. The call should come through. 30 seconds on the clock. Going to be pushed back up to 45. Here comes Says. Looking to make a big-time play. 1v2. Finds the first. Rips his scalp. And surely enough, catches the slide on through inside the trailer, trying to get a reposition, trying to get the right angle. Can he get it done? Oh, can't pull the trigger quick enough. And that is going to send Device on through the backside in a reposition, and a great read for him.
Oh, machine pistol out. He's still trying to find Device. Has he played it to perfection? 20 seconds. Going to try and bait the bomb defuse, but Device pops his head up. And that's 3 kills just in the back end of that round alone from Device. Absolutely perfectly played. And kind of we flagged him up as a player verdicts before the map even started that he's going to have to kind of be the man they lean on. And that was an absolutely impeccable bit of play from him and his boys to tie it up 1 apiece.
Yeah, that had to have been just absolutely nerve-rattling. You're going against Says, the demon of the lobby. He's already taken down one of you. Let's see what he can do. He does clutch the round, though. Device now looking to be this tip of the spear. Over towards B we go. A little bit of a change-up. Talt's going to be... Wow. About half health. Wins 3! Ain't no way, bro. What's going on here?
Oh, my God. What happened? Any trades, ref? Now, how did he get 3? I saw he went down to half health and thought, right, okay, he's got 1. And then the kill feed just lit blue. I'd love to be able to know how he's managed to chew through 3 players there. It looked as though Instinct kind of had the right idea. They smoked the site. They tried to push in, but for some reason, he just didn't want to die. And as a result of it, it completely flipped the round on its head, and Animus find themselves 2-1 up in the blink of an eye.
What a round. Real quickly it went. East side hit didn't pan out last time around. They're going to be trying to flip on through. Look for spawn. Action 1-for-1 trades coming through. Everybody here on B. Onto the A site we go. Nobody's cleared out trailer. And Sawa was going to be able to find a nasty 2-piece. Iora going to be able to get the trade, but the damage is done. 2v2 style. Could have had the player advantage. And nonetheless, they're going to be twiddling their thumbs inside of the trailer looking for another trade. Shots going to be coming through on towards the middle of that map. Off to the sandbags they go. Mantra going to go ahead and peek it on through. That player is going to be since moved, relocated. Kairu now looking for the pounce. They're looking for the pinch too. Will he be able to get the right timing? He's going to be out. Some shots are going to be coming through. That should be a little bit of ample opportunity for a little bit of a plant, but it looks like they're just going to push this single by themselves.
Oh, I got to be careful. Oh, that's why Mantra's been absolutely deleted. Nice trade from here at least to make it a 1 versus 1. And now you've got a round of cat and mouse here. Where's EO going to try and take this bomb? Is he going to try and plant it down towards B and just wait for Talks to try and maybe push him out here? It looks as though he's going to try and double back over towards the A site, but will it pay off? Because it looks as though Talks is not moving, and they might potentially clash at this A site. So EO, they're surely going to spot each other anytime soon. He might have played this to perfection because they managed to get enough cover. Bomb goes down, question mark? No, not quite yet. Just hesitates a little bit, opts to replant. And again, we're going to have a more extended game of cat and mouse. Bombs down.
Good attention to detail there. Pushes the bomb out just slightly so he could peek it in from that American site. There was a little bit of hesitation, and that is the only thing that I could think of was the reason why. He's got a little bit of a relocation. He's got a little bit of a spotting. He's got a little bit underneath the truck. There goes the hit. It's going to be rammed right there. Big shots coming through in a clutch. Again, nerve-rattling rounds after rounds after rounds. We had some smash plays a few rounds back. That one, I mean, could have gone south really quickly. They play their twos perfectly. They get the trades, and now Yor just clutches up massively for Instinct. We're all tied up again.
And this is what you want if you're Instinct. You've got to win those 1v1s against this Animus roster, and that's exactly what they're doing at the moment. They're pretty much 2 for 2. A lot of nades, understandably, going down over towards the A site again. Nobody currently there, and the first blood is going to take Vepex off Sawo, and Say's going to combine for 2. So already the Instinct roster has pretty much been close to halved as they look to try and fight in towards that site. Charisma wins 2 with the machine pistol, so good work there from him. You're going to be left with a 2 versus 3 situation, and oh, well, there you go. Now it's down to 1.
Oh boy, Kairu, massive shot. That is definitely going to halt the momentum. Charisma down as he's the last player alive. Clutcher kick, what's the call? Kairu going to be beamed. 3 kills to this round himself. He didn't have anything going for him so far. And this round could be a redemption round for him indeed. Bombs down inside of that trailer site, though. And with a minute left to go, it's going to be mission impossible. 1v3 up for grabs. 1v2 left to go. Talton says, what do you got in the tank, buddy? You're going to shut this one down? This should be a pretty, clear and shut case. It should just be a round going in favor of Animus, but Charisma can do something impossible here. Yeah,
and you can kind of see it feels like Animus have just given them a little bit more respect when it comes to these 1 versus 2s and 1 versus 1s. If they were 4-0 up, you'd probably see Animus whizzing around the map trying to find him, but they're not. They're holding the angles. They know they've pretty much, I would assume they know they've got bombed down because they haven't moved from that A site. So again, all the off angles going to be explored here by Charisma, and he spots that 1 player, so the comms come through. Talks and Say's now just going to try and group up and play this together, but now Charisma repositions. Can he get some good timing here on towards that 1 player? Oh, he's been spotted again. He's going to try and retrieve the bomb, goes for the gunfight engagement, and the SMG is going to benefit in there, flies around the corner. Can he get the second? No, Talks shuts him down, and that time Animus clutch up 1v1.
I'm not mad at that round at all. Charisma, great natural intuition. Took the gunny on the heady, wins it. Of course, you got to do a little bit of a heat check. Let me see what I can get away with. Maybe I can catch him off guard. He had him dead to rights. Unfortunately, he just couldn't hit the shots. In a round going in favor of Animus. The payoff is going to be the last one here on the attack for the boys over in yellow. Instinct trying to tie us back up. 1-for-1 trades coming through. Charisma opening up on the first blood. He's starting to get heated up, Major. He's starting to get a little fired up, boys.
Oh my God, Sawo's replied with 2 as well. He said, anything you can do, I can pretty much match for now. So it will be a 2 versus 3 in favour of Animus. Sawo over towards the top side of wood is going to command quite a lot of control of these players. If they try and rotate out, and it's actually going to be his teammates that do the business over towards the spawn side of that A site, and it will be another round on the board for Animus. And again, Instinct, they've got to try and keep toe-to-toe here, you think, Verdict, because otherwise these rounds might start running away from them, and Animus with a 2-round lead.
Yeah, I'm not mad at all of how Instinct has played so far. I mean, the scorecard right now just doesn't reflect the heart that they put into it. And they've executed perfectly on, the fundamental game. They're going to have to turn it up here on the defensive side now as they're on the chopping block. Only 3 rounds away from being eliminated here in this matchup. And their flawless record going to be shut down. Sage shutting down 1 there as he catches across on through. And that is 2 for the price of 1. Make it 3, actually. As Taut finds another. That's Charisma left alone yet again in a similar situation. This time a little bit worse, 1v4 and a bomb defuse. I don't know. I don't like these odds here.
Yeah, they've smoked mid. He's going to maybe take an engagement in towards me. I don't know whether he's been heard potentially here, but first player in towards that close left corner. He's able to win that first one, so Charisma gets away. They're looking for the trades, though, and the Sharks smell blood. Animus fly at him. They grab that pick, and they will now be 5-2 up. And kind of what we saw kind of in the previous round of games as well, they were just very, very quick on that offense to go straight in towards the A site. You had Says just covering the flank with that sniper, and it was a pretty impeccable bomb site take. And yeah, kind of Charisma pretty much with an enormous mountain that he had to climb there on his ones.
Oh my god, look at all the nades being tossed, dude. That is
Oh,
just
man.
crazy. Only one trophy there. They deal damage. Device out, Mantra out. In the days here for Instinct. Now they are looking like fish out of water. And we know, well, Shark in or out of the water. He has been absolutely crushing it too. That last round, big for him. Right now, it's 5 standing V3 here for the retake. Bomb's been planted. 30 seconds left to go. We'll see them make their way on through. Kairu going to be able to open up with one. Shark going to get shut down just like that.
Wow.
But it's Sawu and Taltz who are going to be able to shut down there. And we are on match point. This one getting a lot of out of hand. I'd say a little bit out of hand, but quite a bit out of hand since we got the flip. 4-2 rolling on into it. The 2 rounds on the offense so far for Animus, they've been flawless.
Yeah, and the kind of the first bloods and the opening kills have just pretty much been blue for the pretty latter portion here of this map. And again, there you go, there's 3 in the kill feed before you even breathe. And that is pretty much everyone dropping a charisma now. He thought the 1 versus 5 was going to be difficult. He's 1 versus 4, sorry. He's now got a 1 versus 5. Animus say absolutely not. We want this map done 7-2. In the end. Instinct looks as though they had a kind of a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel at the start of that map on their verdict, but unfortunately it was just too much to handle, and especially on those offensive rounds, I think that's where we kind of saw the true kind of prowess of Animus, especially in Search and Destroy.
Yeah, and there's nothing to be ashamed about that bout either. The beginning of the hard point looked solid. That Search and Destroy looked great up until they flip sides, maybe just work on the mechanics and the defense positioning. Other than that, the first 6 were great, regardless of what the scorecard was at the end of it. It's a 4-2 lead going into the flip, and then you just get absolutely outgunned in every capacity. So if you take a look and you break it down, it's a lot closer. Right now, we won't get a full scorecard. We will see Charisma and Device on the right-hand side, as we saw some bounce out of the lobby. That's quite all right. I mean, it happens. Ego check came through. It was declined versus EU, though. Animus absolutely run tables, run a gauntlet there on that one, and they do it flawlessly.
Yeah, so we look at Sewa again, 2 really good matches from 11 and 4 in that Search and Destroy off the back of a not too bad 41 and 30, and then Say's obviously a bit of a quieter map for him, but he did what he needed to do with that sniper, pretty much held the pinch every single time there was an opportunity for somebody on the side of Instinct to try and make that play. He pretty much shut it down. So I think it's a case of they'll be pretty happy with that one with the boys of Animus. Again, that's an important scoreline for them. Obviously, they now top the group at 2-0. Animus looking pretty good for their money, at least in the early stages, in comparison to the kind of the other teams that we've had in Group C. So I suppose for them, it's not necessarily feet up, but you're looking at kind of the games that they've got remaining in just one, and they're probably going to look to try and get this group pretty much rounded out at 3-0. So yeah, really good performance from those boys, and yeah, they look like a very strong unit indeed.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, that's no question. Everybody who came to watch today, they came to watch Animus, and that's not a joke. That the structure that they have, the talent that they have, and this was a roster that I do believe Narcs wasn't available and Gatilla was not available either. So it was just them tossing in their 2 subs in order to make this one work. So regardless of that being said, I mentioned it earlier, all 7 players, very talented all the way through. You could put anybody in and they'd probably run the tables in pretty much every group and make their names known. But still, nothing to be, upset about if you're Instinct. Obviously, things didn't go your way. We flipped and you were lights, shut down. Animus was lights out. And just take that as a learning lesson. Take it on the chin. You had to. And this one, still a little bit of hope for them to, find themselves in a, top 2 seed here in this group stage.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where we see the teams that might necessarily kind of get hammered in a series. Maybe as I say, COD Mobile's been around for a while, and you're going to see that gradual improvement from some of these teams if they do take kind of the losses to be able to kind of grow from them, rather than just seeing them as, okay, we've just been absolutely obliterated in that one. You can obviously take the positives. Device, charisma, they had their moments in that map, so the ability to kind of go toe to toe with some of the best in EU is obviously going to be a really good factor for them taking it forward, and then kind of as a team, as you say, going over VOD, see what you can take from that one. But what we can take from that series, guys, is that Animus, they look very, very good. Obviously, that's going to put them top of the group, and Instinct are going to now be 1-1. We'll throw it to a quick break, guys, and when we come back, we will have that second series on your screen between Nonagon and Revenge. So grab a cup of tea, grab a brew, grab some food, and we'll be back very shortly.
Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to yet another interview. As you can see on your screens, tonight I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Gatilla from Animus. Gatilla, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Hello guys, I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing fairly good as well. Well, Gatilla is not home, so I'll try to be as quick as possible in this interview. So I'll jump straight into the questions, Gatilla. Your team went up against NRW International during the qualifiers of EACS, and it seems as if they were giving you guys a bit of a difficult time. You managed to qualify nevertheless. You had an incredible comeback in Hardpoint, and in S&D it was rather a DQ on the side of NRW. That being said, though, are you worried about NRW in particular coming into this tournament?
No, I'm not worried. Yeah, you're right. The Arthon was so hard. We did a great comeback, but it was maybe the beginning of tournament. So we need to warm up. We need to focus, and that's also a new team with Animus. Sawo joined the team, so we need to adapt to create new strat and to improve the team play.
So that Animus that we saw in the qualifiers was not Animus playing at 100% of their potential. You guys can still get a lot better than you were there.
Yeah. Of course. We need to work. We only play for 1 month right now, so we can improve a lot, especially for UEC, but also for the World Cup, of course.
Yeah, well, champs is going to be a different topic in this interview. I had the chance, however, to interview Sakuta from NRW as well, and when I asked them about the matchup against you guys, he actually said that they wanted you guys to win. They actually let you win just so Animus can taste how victory feels like. How do you reply to that?
So that's funny because we never see them in finals. So my question is, can they win also a match? Maybe not against us, but against other team. We're gonna see, and I can just say see you in final.
All right, well, we'll see if they made it out of if they make it out of the group stage and if they actually make it into the grand finals. That being said, Gatilla, is there anything you guys have learned from scrimming and also playing against international teams that can help you prepare for tournaments like EACS?
Yeah. Of course, when you play against a lot of team and particularly against international team, you learn different strat. You learn how they can play because it's not the same style game style between Europe and, for example, Africa. That's different. So it's always really interesting to play against international teams.
How familiar are you with the African teams participating in EACS? Have you encountered them before in scrims? And if you know any of those teams, do you think one team has the potential to be a contender for the first place of the tournament?
Yeah, we sometimes not we don't play a lot against African teams, but sometimes I don't have a special name in my head, but like they have a good level, and I think they need practice because this year it's the first year where they're gonna play the World Cup. So I think for them it's gonna be really hard because it's the first year, so they don't have a great experience. I think they need time to have the best level. But yeah, they have a good potential, of course.
Well, I interviewed the African teams as well, and I don't quite remember which team it was, but one of the teams actually said that European teams are rather arrogant and they don't like to scrim against African teams because they think Africa does not have good teams or they don't have the potential. So, how often do you guys actually scrim African teams?
The fact is, yeah, we I don't know if it's arrogant. Maybe they're right. A lot of teams are arrogant in Europe. But for us, it's just it first is the connection, like the ping with the MS. It's not the best. We are not in the best condition to play against them because if us or them who play with a bad connection, so that's the first issue. And after, no, for us, it's not arrogant. It's just we want to play against team with good experience, like I said before. And Africa need to have more time to play to improve, so I prefer to play against a great team to improve because if you play against bad team or team with I don't know, with bad strat, it's not good for us to improve. So that's why we don't play against them. But if in the future they have a great level, of course we're gonna play. We in Animus we just want to improve. There is not ego, arrogant, or what else, you know.
That is that's a good answer. That is what I was expecting from a professional like you as well. I'll be more straightforward, Gatilla. What map would you say is the best map for Animus, and why is it?
I think we like the new map Combine. We
Okay.
really like this map. It's a good map with good spawn, like with the P2 and the P3. You need to, it's not bullshit spawn who the spawn flip a lot.
Yep.
It's like it's calm. If you play well with the good spawn, you can win. So that's why we like the new map, and we work a lot on this map.
I have one more question. Once again, regarding that qualifiers matchup against NRW, you played S&D in Tunisia, and on the offensive side of things, when you had to plant the bomb, for some reason you guys did not pick up the bomb right off the bat. You waited till the timer got close to 40 seconds, then picked up the bomb. Can you explain to me what the thought process is behind that without revealing all of your stats, of course?
Yeah, that's easy. Like in SND, I am the player who has the bomb. So in Tunisia, it's a long map. It's really it's a big map. And for example, if we play for pick in attack, imagine I die in the middle or side on the right side on A or B. If I die, we lose the bomb. And after, if the guy in my team have to pick up the bomb, it's over. We're gonna die because the enemy team gonna camp the bomb. They're gonna play around the bomb, of course, because that's the objective, and we die. So the objective is we don't pick the bomb. We wait when a side is clear. For example, okay, my sniper get a kill on A. Okay, this time I get the bomb. I go on A. It's free and I plant. That's why we play like this.
When you say it like that, it does actually make sense. So yeah, good strategy. Good strategy. It's just that I haven't seen that before. It was, I believe, the first time with you
Yeah,
guys.
we didn't create this strat. It's we take this strat from Asia, of course, from Asian team.
Yeah, they know a thing or two more about S&D. That is true.
Yeah, of course, they're the best, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you guys are one of the favorites to win the entire thing, and the expectations are surely very high. But is there any particular opponents you guys are maybe looking to avoid?
I don't know. Maybe, of course, exclusive. Exclusive. That's the main team with the best team with Animus in Europe. We're gonna see. I don't know because I've seen the group A, B, C, D. We don't play against everyone. So maybe sometimes there is a surprise with a team you never see in scrim, but in tournament they are insane. So I don't know, but when we play against each team, we gonna be focused. We're gonna play seriously, and because we never know. Sometimes some teams are insane.
That is indeed true. Well, that being said, now focusing maybe on the World Championship that is coming up shortly as well. How confident are Animus that they're going to be able to be one of the two teams representing Europe? And I ask that because there's a new roster in town that people are talking quite a bit about, and I'm obviously talking about EACS. Does this particular team make you feel uncomfortable at all concerning your chances for stage 5 of World Champs?
Yeah. First, for the World Cup, of course, we are confident. Like every year, we work, we focus. We have, of course, we have a new player with Sawo, and it's a great player. So we are confident. We know we can win this major in Europe and after go for United States. After for Ace, you're right. They are really good. They have I think 3 players from Garena,
Yep.
3 or 2 players. And of course, they are great. They have different game style. Like they are so aggressive in their gameplay, and we have to. It's great because, like I said before, it's important to play against international player, and here it's international players. So we improve a lot, and that's why we like to play against them. Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna. If we don't know how many spots, I think there is for Europe. For the moment, there are 2 spots, but maybe for this year it's gonna be 1 spot. We don't know. I hope it's 2. But if it's 2 spots, yeah, there is exclusive Animus and Ace. So it's gonna be the war. It's a war here, and we don't have the choice. We have to beat them.
Yep, you have to beat them if you want to be in that top 2. Hopefully it remains as 2. If it was only 1 spot for Europe, I think, granted, Europe has not had the best performance in World Champs, but still, I think they deserve at least 2 spots.
I hope. Yeah, yeah.
We're on the same page on that one. Well, Gatilla, tell me, who is, in your opinion, the best player out there in EACS?
Well, I don't know. It's hard because I think about, of course, only Animus players, not on the other team. So in Animus, and I think I'm gonna say Sawo, the young player. He has a great potential. He was in the exclusive before joining Animus, and he has a big potential. He just need experienced player like me, like Anaf. So he's in the good team, and I'm sure 100% he's gonna be the best player in the team.
Most likely. I mean, he has quite a few good mentors, very experienced players in the Animus roster. So everything is set up fairly well for him. I wish you guys best of luck, of course. Gatilla, tell me a bit more about your own biggest personal goals in competitive Call of Duty Mobile.
I think I have 2 goals. The first goal is to join a big structure, an international structure. Like, I don't know, like Vitality, it's French, so or another. But that's my first goal. We work on this. It's hard, and particularly in Europe, it's so hard to find a structure. And after, the other goal, of course, is the World Cup. The final, it's to win, to be the best team in the world. That was my main goal since the beginning, and I think it's the goal for every professional players. And we know it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. In Europe, it's hard because we only play the night. We don't play the whole day. We don't have structure. So that's why I say the first goal before to think about the final, the World Cup, it's to find a structure. We don't have the choice. We have to find someone.
I wish you best of luck with that. It's going to be difficult, but if anyone can do it, it's surely you, my man. So I wish you best of luck.
Thank you. But
before I give you the stage to tell the viewers whatever your heart desires, one last question. What are your thoughts on this particular major tournament, and do you think there should be more initiatives like this in the competitive scene?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's the EACS, it's a great idea, and we need more. We need more, particularly between Africa and Europe. That's a big combination, and that's a good idea. We need to practice. So we need tournament. We need to play against a lot of teams, different teams, and more tournaments there are, and maybe more structure will be interesting for Europe and Africa. So yeah, that's just great, and Animus is happy to play this tournament.
I can speak on behalf of UCE. I think they are very happy to have you guys in their tournament. You have been very professional, no issues whatsoever. So I think they are glad to have you here as well. Well, Gatilla, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining, even though you're not at home, and answering all of my questions. Before I let you go, though, you have the chance to say whatever you like to all the viewers watching right now. And of course, if you want to, you can also do that in your native language, French.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak English because I know not everyone is French. But no, yeah, just thank you to all people who support Animus. We are here since a long time. Look, you remember the first tournament we played?
It's been a while, man. We get to know that.
It's been a while, bro. Yeah. So no, yeah, just thanks to everyone who support Animus, and also thanks to everyone who watch tournament. We need people. We need community. Not only Animus, because if there is only Animus, we are not a lot. So yeah, we need more people, we need more community, more supporter. It's too important to have more tournament. And that's all. Thank you to everyone. We try the best, we try to give the best to improve, and we hope we're gonna represent the Europe for the World Cup.
That, ladies and gents, was Gatilla from Animus. Thank you once again to everybody for tuning in into this interview. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of the action in EACS. Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to yet another interview. As you can see on your screens, tonight I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Gatilla from Animus. Gatilla, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Hello guys, I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing fairly good as well. Well, Gatilla is not home, so I'll try to be as quick as possible in this interview. So I'll jump straight into the questions, Gatilla. Your team went up against NRW International during the qualifiers of EACS, and it seems as if they were giving you guys a bit of a difficult time. You managed to qualify nevertheless. You had an incredible comeback in Hardpoint, and in S&D it was rather a DQ on the side of NRW. That being said, though, are you worried about NRW in particular?
Ladies and gents, welcome back to EACS 2025 here on COD Mobile. If you did miss game one, it was a fairly one-sided go. Animus 2-0 up against Instinct in that first series that we had. But obviously, we're going to look ahead to our next series between Nonagon and Revenge. And Verdict, we were talking before we went live. This is going to be a pretty important game here for both of the respective sides. Obviously, neither team currently have a win under their belt. And this is obviously going to be a bit of a slingshot game to potentially see who could actually go through into that top two spot and obviously place their bet in the any words, Thomas? In the bracket is what I was going to say. There you go. I got there eventually.
Oh, absolutely. No, this is a make or break situation. Obviously, Animus just cashed their ticket into the show. They're going to be getting, a free ride on through, a free ride. They earned it. You guys know what I'm talking about. But this one's a make or break. Obviously, Nonagon did not look very good against their opponents last week. This time around, they're going to get to do it against Revenge, who looks slightly decent against a roster, in Animus.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at that grand perspective, Animus beats Revenge, or not Revenge, but Nonagon gets beaten by Instinct. Instinct beat Nonagon. In that terms, you would like to say probably about as good of a matchup as we're going to get today, but you still would have to be favoring that squad of Revenge, who, I mean, as we were talking off broadcast, had held their own against a squad that's undefeated so far.
Yeah, I think kind of when we look at kind of obviously with the best of three that we've got, obviously same maps again for this one, but kind of that Revenge did show kind of a bit of a light with regards to their search and destroy. Obviously 7-5 against Animus is by no means something to be scoffed at. We've just seen Animus kind of have a fairly one-sided affair against Instinct with 7-2. And obviously Instinct managing to take that one against Nonagon. You do kind of worry for Nonagon, especially in that search and destroy. And I think the hard point will probably be the steering factor in this one. I think if we end up in a position where Nonagon don't take that map one, you do start to question if we're going to go map 3, even to get that far along in the series. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one to see between these two teams. But we'll take a look at the teams. Obviously, speaking of them, we'll have a look at Nonagon to see kind of what the roster consists of with this team of 5. And I don't know how much of the games you caught last time, Verdict, but it was a case that, say, Nonagon, they did their best against that Instinct roster. They did get blown out a little bit. And again, I think it's going to be a case of seeing who out of this team of 5 could, especially in Respawn, put up some big numbers and see kind of what they bring to the table with just kind of that raw slaying ability. Again, the cards are still open for us in this roster, really, to see who's got what. No,
you're absolutely right. This is the chop and block situation. It's either all or nothing in this particular instance. Nonagon have to show up. They have to put on. They've got to start off strongly here in this search or in this hard point. Nonetheless, it's it's just one of those rotations when we head over into the search or destroy. It didn't look very solid. And on the opposite end of it, it's Revenge, who's coming through and trying to get a little bit of slight revenge for what happened to them last week. They get beat 2-0 against Animus, and they're going to be headed by their roster here. And Stevie, Mava, Mara, Rappator, and Isa on the side. It's going to be Karatar. We'll see if this starting 5 is able to produce. We get geared up for it now. Is Hardpoint Hacienda right around the corner? Predictions from Revenge handle the business. I know Side started last week. Isa coming in today. I don't know if it's going to make quite a difference. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, so I think Again, obviously, with the map that kind of Hacienda is, again, we don't like to say that kind of gunfights and slaying is absolutely everything. But in Hacienda, we saw it again. We kind of talk about Animus because they are essentially where the bar is with regards to the quality that at least I've seen on COD Mobile, and kind of that slaying ability is really, really easy to lean on in Hacienda, especially when you're bouncing from hill to hill with so many players on the map, so many engagements. And again, kind of be interesting to see kind of how the operators try and play in. Obviously, the War Machine, we saw that big play on the War Machine from the boys of Animus in that last series. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they get on that one. We'll have a quick peep at the maps, obviously, for anyone who is joining stream and did miss that one. Obviously, we're playing the same maps. We've got Hassi map 1, firing range map 2, and Crossfire map 3. But again, verdicts, I think that kind of P1, P2, I think will kind of be where we have a look and see what Nonagon have got in this series. Again, we don't like to discount teams too early on, but it can be quite telling in what we'll see. And obviously, like I say, we don't want to jump ahead too far, but the Search and Destroy is probably going to be one that you're going to put in Revenge's court early on. So this map 1 might be kind of do or die for them, really.
No, you're absolutely right. You haven't seen Crossfire be played competitively and casted in 10 years. It's probably going to be another 10 years for you here if this hardpoint doesn't go in favor of Nonagon. So Search or Destroy by no means look, any kind of, great for the side of Nonagon, but Search or the hardpoint's got to be solid off the rip.
Yeah.
You got to bank onto it. First 2 hills, obviously, on this map, one open, one very secluded and closed. Very hard to break. So 2 opposite ends of the spectrum to kind of judge a team. I think that's absolutely as fair as it gets. If you can't get your fair share off P1, you got to get that early rotation. If you can't get that early rotation, well, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, you're going to have to buckle up. It's going to be a rough ride for you.
Yeah, and I think kind of, especially at the start of the game when the operators aren't in play, obviously it's more difficult for teams to break into hills and kind of lean on those abilities to be able to kind of get 2-3 kills, chain some together, and then kind of flip the game on its head like we saw Animus do. So that first P2 rotation is probably going to be a really important one for both of the respective teams. So again, it's kind of a bit of a double-edged sword with how you play off of a P1. You want to try and be aggressive, get a lot of hill time, but at the same time, you don't want to kind of gift a potential easy rotation to a team, especially on a Hacienda. It's very quick paced in that P1 to be able to push through top mid. Or some teams you tend to see kind of push down towards well or push down pass through P4 and essentially try and play for that flip right off the start. Again, not necessarily too familiar with how sticky the spawns can be. We saw kind of in the previous series where you tend to have that one player out towards the back of Garage trying to block the spawns. And I think that's probably going to be a bit of a telling sign as to who's kind of playing the smarter game throughout the carnage of Hacienda that we usually tend to see. So it'll be interesting to see kind of who on both of these teams is going to kind of be those players that are doing the dirty work, because we sing and dance about kind of the players that are putting up the big numbers, but you can't put a price on those players that rotate early, block spawns, because it can buy you 30-40 seconds just from that alone. Even if you're not necessarily winning every single engagement, if you win those important ones, they could potentially swing a map in your favor. And with these 2 teams currently waiting for their first win, that could be the difference potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Those anchor players are huge. Usually when I play, that's where I'm at. Not just because I'm at the bottom of the leaderboard, but just because I'm trying to get those early rotations. I'm not going to win the big ones inside the hill. I know these guys are coming through. So we are going to have a little bit of a delay here as we're getting geared up for our first game of the second series of the night. Nonagon and Revenge set to take stage here in a moment. We're going to get some situations dealt with on the back end, and as soon as we do get the players in, we'll go ahead and start. If you're just now tuning in, you missed out on a hell of a game matchup from Animus and the side of Instinct. It was a 2-0, but that kind of paints a different picture for what really happened. It was a great first set of hills there for Instinct, and in that Search and Destroy, they looked solid on the attack, but the defense just crumbled. But to your point there, the earlier the better to get those spawn flips in the hard points. But these spawns are definitely not like your PC CODs. They are not very sticky. You see a little split spawn situation in a majority of the hills, which makes it a little bit more competitive. In my eyes, you have to win a lot more gunfights, and you mentioned it being a pivotal player in the back lines could go massive as it did in that first game. We'll see who's going to be standing up and stepping out here in this first game.
Yeah, and one thing kind of coming from COD multiplayer with it being 4v4 is even when I play with a team of 4, you've only got 4 people, the comms can get quite clustered. So I can only imagine when you're playing 5v5,
yeah.
it can be very, very easy for it to just be mudded with noise. And I think kind of the ability for teams to, again, kind of raise the bar and kind of refine what they're doing is kind of the consistency of keeping the comms clean, short, and not just flooding them. Because even when we're watching the game, all we see is gunfights, engagements, trades. So I could only imagine that on some of these kind of, don't want to say lower tier teams, but the guys who are, say, relatively new to it or potentially not at that upper echelon, it wouldn't surprise me if we do get a lot of bogged down comms. And again, those are kind of the fine tuning parts that can really separate the good teams from the great teams.
Yep, we'll see who's going to be great on the other end of this one. Here we go. Hacienda, second time around. Is it the charm? We're about to find out. Opening hill right in the middle of the map, as you mentioned it earlier. It's going to be Nonagon taking advantage of a little bit of time. We are going to see Revenge try to get a little bit of map control at the top. It's the XM4, the 2025 World Championship skin. And Barra looking for the rotations. He's going to be able to spot one there on top, and that is going to be clear control for Revenge as they do get the spawns locked down. A little bit of split situation in blue there. We'll see if they can bounce back.
Yeah, and Draco with a couple of kills just to be able to open up the hill a little bit for his team. They are going to be spawning over towards well, so this is going to be a case of can these players just play it a little bit patiently just to make sure they don't overextend and cause their squad to flip out. Nice work, though, from the duo over towards the top side of mid, and nice work there from Kiosko, able to at least grab a couple. We're going to see a streak early on there from Draco, courtesy of his really hot start. So it's going to be up to Barra just to be watching over the top side of mid. There's one for him. Boxing Glove's not going to do much from that distance as he does get traded out. But the new hill pretty much ready to go. And you can see the number 2 there. I believe it's Zuri. He's actually on the new hill. He's going to play a really important part, but really nice work there again from Kiyotsuki, able to trade him out.
Yep, that's Revenge. Crossing all T's, dotting all I's. They got a lockdown. It's going to be coming through the front. First few seconds uncontested. Hop on down through for Kiyotsuki. Is going to be able to get the trail of one, but the contest is going to come through. It's going to stop the clock for a side of Revenge for collecting free time. And just like that, they handle the business. The backside spawn's going to be red. And the garage, now a lockdown here. Some kills going in favor of Nonagon. Can they get the brute force push on through? Here comes the secret hit.
Yeah, nice hits with the shots coming through here from Kiyotsuki again. That sub locking it down. There is going to be a challenge towards the hill. Curly's able to at least take him down. And he gets a second as well as Curly. So really good work there from him. But again, that hill is still yellow. Revenge are still soaking up the time. Kiyotsuki with another engagement. But it's going to be Zuri that shuts him down, so they're still trying to push in towards the time. And even though they're getting the backside spawns, it's not going to convert to any time. And that P2 has been well and truly in Revenge's side. And look at the rotation again. It's going to be Nonagon having to run a considerable amount of distance, and they're only going to have one player on the rotation.
Yeah, they got 3 players smashing goals. This is a tough way to go. I'm a firm believer in if you spawn there, go ahead and try and get collection, but that's a tough way to go. Now it's a transition on 3. You got one player in Curly holding it down, but the hit is coming from everywhere. The contest already coming through, and it's a feed of yellow. It's Revenge coming through, handling business off the backs of some big gunfights. Now the operators are pulled through. It's Maba able to make it rain there. The damage just absolutely clutch. The Odin there not going to be able to follow it up. And mix of feeds coming through, but RNG, Revenge, they're running the tables there in the spawns. Looking pretty solid so far.
Yeah, a little bit of a split spawn actually came through there for Revenge, and they were able to win the gunfights. Nonagon. They just need to try and get somebody on the time at the moment. Everyone's up. Nice 2-piece there from Zuri before he falls. And again, another couple of kills go in their favor, but they need to try and convert it to time. And we are now going to see Gravity Vortex gun to see if he can maybe potentially grab a few more. Doesn't look as though any is coming through just as of yet, but it will be Revenge with a little bit of a lead. That lead has just deteriorated ever so slightly, so nice hill there from Nonagon. Potentially not a huge amount of hill time, but it is something that is going to be a bit more positive for them after the first 2 hills, so we'll see how they rotate and get ready for new. Revenge, though, they are going to be all over that new hill, and everyone from Nonagon, as Steve says, yep, back into the blender, boys.
Oh, yeah, there they go. Off the respawn. Looking for the hit. It's coming through. That dock side, certainly. A lockdown here for the first 10 seconds, nonetheless. Break might be coming through the staircases. One big gunfight going to come through for Ziri, as well as for the Devilman himself. But it's Steve coming through. Cleaning house on the outskirts. 3 are there in blue, and it's going to be Nonagon. Collected a little bit of time there off the back of some trades coming in for their favor. And surely enough, this might be the turnaround. The last 30 seconds still up for grabs, and they're collecting bodies left and right. Devilman going on a hell of a spree there with the equalizer.
Yeah, got to be aware of that split spawn, though. You've got one player in top office that might be able to make that read, and it is. So nice work there. Greatjoy picks off 2. 4G able to pick off 1 as well. And this has completely turned the game around now. If you're a Revenge fan, you might just be potentially worrying that your team might have been resting on their laurels potentially a little bit too early. Nice couple of kills coming through. Greatjoy whips up another couple, and that is again going to be more time on the cards here for Nonagon. So a really good P3, P4 rotation coming through from them. And now it's just going to be a question of can they get this P1 sorted. It was a bit of a ball buster for them the first time round. Revenge going to be winning the first sets of engagements, and they will be the first sets of players to at least swarm around the time. Greatjoy's going to try his utmost to stay alive. The reload might catch him out. Maybe does indeed trade him out. And P1, though, they've still got Nonagon on the time, at least for now.
Yeah, they do. They can't afford to give up any more this time. We saw what a league can do to a team, especially in these open objectives. So far, they've been handling business. Operators out here for Steve. Going to be able to find a 2-piece there. Sparrow putting arrows heat all over the map. Time is going to be contested right through. Maybe going to be able to find a big 2-piece. That's going to open up the time floodgates there onto the objective. 3 now smashing it from the top side, and Nonagon right back in it. Not afraid to get back on the hill. Not afraid to get their hands dirty. With 20 seconds left to go, they got to start thinking about that rotation.
Well, big amount of scrap time here. He's going to flip the game here if nobody from Revenge is going to decide to try and take the player off the time. So again, the foot race over towards P2, but it's going to be Nonagon set up in garage, watching the front side. Are they going to watch, though, this water jump up area? 4G flies straight around the corner. Nice reads there onto Barra. Steve drops as well. So early stage of this hill's looking good, but keep an eye on the flip. You've got a couple of players working their way around the back. I believe it's going to be number 3 on the mini-map there in Steve, who was trying to make the play. He does go down, but they've still got a couple of engagements to deal with here to Nonagon, and they do manage to do a good job of it, so they are still spawning out the back. But meanwhile, Revenge still managing to soak up quite a bit of time throughout all this carnage.
Oh, Karasuki, I don't know how the hell he's still alive. Finally going to get shut down and sent back to the spawn. Player number 5, Draka, doing everything he can to contest, and this is the difference in this matchup. If they're not being able to contest, they're not being able to collect the time, and Nonagon now going to be in a position to get shut down yet again. It's going to be a massive feed there from the War Machine. Maba going big. Curly going to be able to shut him down. Trades galore. The contest in. It's shut down again. And with the last 15 seconds left to go, a little bit of a lead going to continue to surmount there for the boys in blue, or in yellow, rather. It's going to be Revenge already getting a setup for new, too. They're going to abandon that last little bit of scrap time, and then maybe we'll see this one turn around for them on this opener.
Yeah, nice shots there coming through. And it will be, at least on the rotation, a few players from both respective teams that are still fighting over towards Tin. One player there in Steve does go down. Nice shots again here from Kiyasuki as he's looking to try and shoot through everyone that spawns up. Another couple of kills coming through for him. The nade, though, from Zuri, pinpoint accurate to shut that down. And that's going to be a really important one, actually, because he was going on a bit of a carnage there. The XM4's not going to be clean enough there on that occasion. And Revenge, they are still on the time. Again, this time Devilman going to be whizzing round over towards Well. Can he manage to grab a couple of ones? Shots into the floor aren't going to do too much damage as the pots take all of it. But it will still be a little bit of a heavily contested hill. Nonagon going to be leaning on this hill, as important as it was the first rotation round, to soak up at least what could potentially remain here. This 25 seconds could be a really big chunk of time for them here. But as soon as I say that, wow. Okay, Revenge said, nah, we'll have that, mate.
Very convincing. They clear top. Nonagon left to their own, down by 50, about rolling into the P4 setup. This is where they turn things around. Last set of hills. This time around, not so fast, my friend. Revenge are here. They've learned from their fares. The last 5 seconds now up for grabs. They're going to go ahead and push it through. And, well, with a 40-point disadvantage, I don't know if they can afford to make this push and then try to bank on a big break here early. I don't know what's going to happen. Kyosuke, he's taking things in his own hands. He's got the lockdown here up the top side. Big gunfights at the ready. Smash on through the backside, too. It's going to be a 2 for 2. Yep, that's going to be a feed of yellow. Revenge lighten up the feed. P4 lockdown in their hands.
They've still got players over towards top open. If they get these picks here on the crossfire, it might be all important. Greatjoy, surely the moment to fly is going to be now. He's trying to see who's around him, but Zuri's picking off one, so too will 4G, and they do manage to break back in the hill here, Nonagon. So a really clean opportunity now to maybe soak up what remains of the 30 seconds and tie up the game. Once again, the claw this time's going to come out. There you go from 4G, only able to pick off one before he goes down, and we're going to see the Sparrow now from Curly. How many can he at least try and tame off the hill? Nice shot there, straight to the jaw of Barra. He will fall. The machine pistol, though, is going to be good enough for Maba to at least trade it out. They are contesting it a little bit better, but Nonagon, again, they're leaning on this P4. It's been good to them 2 rotations now, and it's going to pretty much bring us relatively close. Zuri mopping up with the USS.
Yeah, it ain't been pretty, but hey, they got the job done. They're right back into the swing of things. Only down by about 23, rolling into the third set of hills. Let's see if they can learn from their mistakes. Nonagon not doing as great on that P3 rotation, but banking on a break there in P4. It cleared. Right now, they've got to find a way to stop the hemorrhaging onto this hill. Curly's going to go ahead and hop on through. He's going to be able to find some kills for his own, but he's going to get traded on through. It's the War Machine being invested by Meba, able to find another for himself, but he is going to get traded through. So not a lot of damage to show for it. Nonetheless, Revenge still in control of this game.
And this is huge now for Revenge. The War Machine's going to come out here from Greatjoy. He's able to grab one trophy down. Any reinforcement's going to try and help him out. He's at least trying to clear the players off, but that's a really good trade there from Mava just to at least stop that momentum that was coming through. And now they're over the 200-point mark. Nonagon, they've got to be careful with every single rotation. They can't afford to give too much scrap time because it will just keep accumulating here for Revenge over and over. And this is a really big gunfight over towards P4. Devilman got to try and play his life. Machine Pistol going to try and whiz around the corner. That play's still there, but Kiyosuke is wiser to it. And this time, Revenge have got that early rotation. They're set up for P2, and this is potentially do or die here for Nonagon. They've got to try and break in.
They got to. Can't panic now. It's now or never. 31 seconds needed to close this one out. Opener coming through. Equalizer out for Kiyosaki. He's going to be able to find one. That's massive. The shield on the front side is going to be come through, but it's going to be 3 kills in blue. That's going to light up the feed. A lot of investment here on this backside, and surely enough, it's going to find the kills, but is it going to be able to be good enough to hold off the hill? It's not. The pressure coming through. It's Draka, one-man wrecking crew, absolutely finds the 2 that were in the hill, and now it's a foot race to the objective. The last 38 seconds still up for grabs. Who's going to be able to take their lion's share?
Forehead smashing into the front side of the hill from both respective sides. They're trying to at least soak up what remains. You've got 28 seconds of contested time here, but they're going to clear out every single blue player. Everyone's still trying to flood through the front side, and you can see they're on the screen. 20 seconds, and Revenge have this one done. They've got to contest this hill at least for 3 seconds here, Nonagon, if they're going to have a chance at this one. They're flying in. Jump up goes Greatjoy, and just as quickly as he hops up, he goes down. Everyone is flying towards the time. They've done enough to at least buy themselves a lifeline, but now they've got to pretty much play perfect Call of Duty going in towards that P3. They've got a couple of bodies over towards that new hill, but my God, they've got to play it well.
Oh, here comes the Pred. Is he going to play the spoiler, the setup here? Oh, catches one on the rotation. That could be it. 2 players still lining the top side. Hill's open for business. Nobody on it for the time being. Finally, some time going to be collected from Nonagon. It's the boys in yellow, though, who are coming through, getting the kills. Only need 5 seconds to shut it on through. Looks like they're going to go ahead and polish their gun headies, too, now, as they're just going to try to play for some stat pad, and nonetheless, finally, the objective is going to be captured. Not a doubt there for Revenge. They get theirs there in this game number 1. Still a hell of an effort there from Nonagon. Just not enough to get the job done.
I was going to say, it wasn't necessarily a map where you'd think, right, okay, well, Revenge have just absolutely run through them there. I think that P3, P4 was kind of Nonagon's bread and butter. We saw some huge amounts of time that came through from that P3, P4. I think it was mainly kind of the P1. Revenge seemed to get quite a substantial amount of time across. Obviously, we had, I believe, 3 rotations in total there, and you can kind of see the slaying there. A lot of engagements across the board. I suppose the only real heavy hitter you've got in terms of kills and death was Kiyosuke at 44 and 27, but across the board, verdicts, you've got so many engagements across both teams, and I mean, I can't complain. It made for a hell of a map.
No, I did indeed. I mean, you take a look at the stats, and even in the hill department, everybody pulled their fair share. Anytime you get a map where it's, everyone's north of 40 seconds on the hill, I kind of like that 45, but that's, the semantics at this point. Obviously, you're looking at a, very well PTFO game, right? They're playing the freaking objective. Yeah, and you can't, do anything about it if you're not winning those guns. You just get better and get into the firing range. Obviously, things didn't go their way, and it's this team-based game. Obviously, the side of Revenge just had a better P1 and P2 that we talked about earlier. That was their bread and butter, and surely enough, they were able to take some crumbs off the table there in the P3 rotation too. So they bested them on the first 2 openers, as well as throwing their foots on the objective there for the most part on P3. P4, we'll let them slide for that one.
Yeah, I think it's good as well to see kind of, although Nonagon have dropped that map, they've kind of got strengths and weaknesses to their game. Obviously, they looked pretty kind of efficient when it came to trying to at least fight for the rotations rather than just, again, it's very easy to get bogged down in some of those kind of chaotic hills, especially on a Hacienda. But we saw a lot of occasions where there was at least 1 or 2 players fighting for that rotation. Didn't necessarily win them all. And I think on the odd occasion when Revenge did win those more important rotational gunfight wins, I think that's when we saw Revenge get the big chunks of time. And then obviously with the operators coming in towards the back end of the map, I think that was just when they were able to pick up 2-3 kills apiece. Obviously Kiyosuke kind of roaming around the map, kind of dropping some big numbers as well, kind of just gave them that little bit of an X factor to kind of to push them over the line. But if you're Nonagon off the back of that map, it's not exactly a doom and gloom one. You've not been clubbed. You've not exactly been blown out the park. It was just a case of maybe fine tuning a couple of things. If they do potentially come out of this group, there's still some optimism to be taken from it. And obviously going into the search and destroy now, again, I don't want to sit in here and count them out because, to be fair, that map 1 was a lot more competitive than probably we were teeing up off the rip of that series.
No, 100%. Again, we're not going to, try to take sides or anything like that just based off of what we've seen so far. The Search and Destroy, maybe not the best game mode for Nonagon. So to kind of play devil's advocate here, we did kind of set the stage for you've got to be, great in that hard point because we've not really seen a great, turn of Search and Destroy for you. So it's not over. It's certainly, got to still be played through. We're heading over the firing range for game number 2. But based off of what we've seen so far, it's not a lot of light at the end of that tunnel there for Nonagon. So they might have missed their chance. Let's see if they can turn things around and potentially, get themselves on board with a map of themselves and take us to that crossfire. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see kind of how the teams play it as well. Obviously, we've kind of only seen firing range in that first series between Animus and Instinct. It looks as though that A site where over towards the targets are, that seems to be kind of the site that the teams tend to try and play for. I think we did see maybe 1, maybe 2 B hits across all of the 9 rounds that we did see, but it looks as though that A site is pretty much the one that everyone tries to try and push. So it'll be interesting to see if kind of these 2 teams opt to try and play the same way. I think one thing that's pretty clear though, verdict is the ability to push those sites as a team pays dividends for you if you do it efficiently, especially in 5v5. Kind of the time to kill is incinerating on COD Mobile if you get team shots. And I think that's kind of where we might start to see kind of the big kill feeds potentially light up in Revenge's favor if they're watching those same angles and somebody kind of goes to shoulder something and next thing they get evaporated. So I think that'll be a big thing to keep an eye out, especially in the early rounds, if it is going to be the likes of Revenge on the offense, to see if they try and hit those bomb sites quickly and kind of as a 5-man stack.
No, you're absolutely right. The A side is definitely going to be the choice of push. Obviously, it's a little less involved. You send that one carrier onto the site, you get a good setup on the back lines. It's a little less player investment, but it's all how they plan to play it. Obviously, if they're going to be smashing that A site, a lot of investment on through. If that bomb carrier doesn't get down accordingly, it just cause a lot of trouble. The B site, a little bit harder to do. It's a little bit harder to clear. There's a lot more areas to kind of snake about there. So when you're looking at it from that perspective, A is like the automatic hit. It's a no-brainer, right? You just gotta clear that trailer out. You got to clear those barrels out and pray to God there's not a good sniper on the opposite end inside of Armory to kind of piece you up. It kind of happens. And, time to kill for that is, I mean, you blink and you're dead. There's no retaliating from that. Sometimes there's hit markers, but for majority of the time, if you're a good marksman, you get your kill and that's it. So anything to prolong that bomb from going down and get your defense in good position. We'll see who comes out on top here. Nonagon down, certainly not out. A great bout against Revenge here in that hard point, but Revenge clearly, controlled the game all the way through. So got to give them the roses where it's where it's earned. Yeah,
and obviously while we wait for map 2 to start up, I mean, we'll just touch upon kind of what we spoke about before we really went live, in kind of the opportunity that Revenge have got here in the group. Obviously with Instinct dropping that map, if they take this 1-2-0 against Nonagon, that puts them tied pretty much with Instinct. And then it's kind of one of those where you're looking in towards that Instinct versus Revenge game. And that is a huge game because that essentially determines who's going to come second in the group. Obviously, if Animus, which we would assume, take it 3-0 in terms of their wins and losses when they go into their next series. But I mean, you're looking at it's a difficult thing to do though sometimes, not to look too far ahead. Obviously, the last thing Revenge are going to want to do is try and kind of look too far down the line, and then all of a sudden they get a slap in the face and they're in a map 3. But it's kind of difficult for them not to look ahead of this one and say, right, get this done in a 2-0, boys, and then we'll look ahead towards that next series potentially against Instinct, which is going to be a really, really big series.
Yeah, it is indeed. This one, we'll see if it turns out to be a big series indeed. A lot of implications here on the line. Revenge could pretty much seal their deal for that opportunity to take down Instinct next week. and book their tickets to the show. We'll find out now. This one's slow and steady, wins the race. We'll see who's going to make the first wrong move. Everything is just kind of playing it safe at home. Not very many steps taken outside of that spawn site, and surely you're going to have to make a move if you're the attacking squad. Revenge. Cool, calm, and collective here on this one off the bat. 4G trying to get a spot through the middle of the map. Not going to have a sight line. Bomb's still inside of wood as well, too. So whatever the IGL calls here, it's certainly going to be on the backs of maybe a little bit of luck, maybe a little bit of information that they find out through. It looks like they're going to buckle up for what could be an A-long hit. Only Devilman here to stop the push.
Yeah, I think they've just been waiting for the kind of the pick from Barrow with that sniper, and it looks as though he's going to try and now push in towards the A site. So Smoke's out, isn't going to see anything on the cross as of yet, but now here go the yellow arrows in towards the site. How many kills are going to come through? Draka, SMG, Shock Horror, he gets that first pick. That aggression pays off. Zuri's going to pick one off before Steve replies with one. So that A bomb site has still got a lot of players ready, and nice work there from Curly to take Barrow down. Now leaves them in a 2 versus 3, and Revenge, they are going to take that bomb over towards the B site while the carnage at A ensued.
Diversion set. Is it a trap? Was it pre-calculated, pre-planned? Surely it was. I mean, everything was done for a reason, right? 2 players left standing on the right-hand side of the screen. Bomb's been planted. 20 seconds left to go. I don't know what we're doing. We're dragging our feet, waiting for the hit. Zuri, let's go. Clearing out all odds, ends, and angles. And the hit's going to come through. Push through the tunnel of death here for Zuri. Able to spot one in Maba? No, yes. Shots are not going to land nonetheless, though. Steve on the back lines looking to wait for the push to come through. Wallbang's not going to hit as of yet. The smash coming in. Steve going to be able to take down one. Maba going to get shut down as well as Steve. And that is not going to be enough time for the bomb to fuse. A lot of time wasted here in this round. They get the kills. They just don't get the time for the defuse. That's a tough way to start.
Yeah, and I think if you're Nonagon, you're kicking yourself a little bit there, because obviously you could see what they were trying to do. There's obviously a lot of angles that kind of those players can play. You would anticipate, though, that it would have been a more kind of subtle defense there of the bomb from Revenge towards the backside of the site, and unfortunately they just took too long to clear it, and they gave themselves literally no time to work to, which is a shame because they won the engagements and they played the numbers well, but unfortunately it just wasn't meant to be. So first round on the board for Revenge on that offensive side, and again it looks as though they're going to try to go play for that first pick. 4G isn't going to quite be able to let the shots land here with the Tundra, and it looks as though his opposite number in Barrow is again just kind of inviting anyone for that first blood. So pretty much a similar strat to what we saw in the first round verdict.
Yep, nobody holding that A-long lane. Nonetheless, Zuri was a trailer park demon. Let me just tell you, he cleared it out. He's one of the last standing there in that engagement. It's a B push on through. Greyjoy going to be able to shut down Draka. And all of a sudden, the investments here towards this B site is yet again another diversion from the side of Revenge. I was talking about those one-way bangs on through. 4G's trying to get the shots to land. That is one of those spots indeed. A hits coming through. Zuri left on an island by himself. Gonna have to put in some God's work to shut this bomb plant from going down. Oh, he gets shut down instantly.
Yeah, never mind. His teammates now going to have to try and rotate over 40 seconds, so they're going to have to be quick. Nonagon again, they can't just afford to be that hesitant. There is a big spread, though, of players, so if they can win the individual gunfights, there might be an opportunity here. Number 1, Devilman, is going to have a gunfight over towards bottom wood. He's going to get a couple of shots in, and he does manage to take Barrow down. Devilman wins one, 4G wins one as well, so the opportunity to collapse, again, is here, but you've got to keep an eye on the time. You don't want to have 2 rounds in a row where it's the clock that beats you instead of the players, and it's going to be another gunfight, so now it is all going to be down to Steve. Has he managed to buy himself enough time to take this man off the bomb? The wall bang's coming through. 4G slaps him in the face with the sniper. That should be enough for the defuse. And Nonagon learning from their mistakes.
Absolutely. Plenty of time there. 4G, Greyjoy. They move with a sense of urgency. That last player, I would say that was, one of those positions where you play for insurance, but man, nothing was hitting from that peak AM at that distance to the wall. Gets absolutely erased. Payoff round here. We are tied. Technically speaking, if we're looking back at it, this should be, a 2-0 in lead of Nonagon. So far, they've been playing this one pretty solid. Draka going to be able to open up the first blood. And this could be the floodgates onto the B site. This is the first commitment where we've seen all 5 players smash into one site. And so far, it's a 2-for-2 trade. Make it 2-for-3.
Oh, shot in. Oh, is that 4G going to connect with that final bullet just to kill that player? That's a bold slide. Oh, my God. And that's why Kiyosuke whizzes round. I believe he was one shot as well and just rips him out of that one. You're now going to find Zuri requiring the 1 versus 4. Nade is cooked. Is he going to manage to collide with anyone? Doesn't look as though he's going to hit anyone with that nade. The gunshots, though, aren't going to be good enough. And Revenge with a fairly comfortable round, switching it up, complete change of aggression, and it catches Nonagon completely off guard.
Absolutely. Great way to bounce back. No harm, no foul. Those first 2 rounds, split decision. That one, very convincing. Zuri not able to clutch it up for the boys. Revenge trying to take advantage and taking the lead for themselves. Trailer hit thrown through. Draka going to be able to lead the tip of the spear, but it's Curly and Kiyosuke who are going to be able to get the trades on through, 1-for-1 style. And in the trailer we go. It's Draka there, but on the outskirts, Zuri, he's playing a little bit of this tucked away position. Is he going to be anticipated? He is. Shots can't land, though, and Zuri going to be able to win his one. Can he get out dear life? No, Draka going to be able to get the trade on through.
3v3. The next gunfight is going to be a really important one. Draka's going to catch Curly out as well, so another pick there coming through for him. And the nade over towards the A site just to see if anyone's on bomb. They aren't going to hit anything with it, though. So now Greatjoy and Devilman got to try and work it. Nice work, though, from Devilman again on his ones. Oh, he gets the second as well. And he's managed to play his life. He's got to try and play the third. Oh, never mind. I thought he was potentially going to try and strip away from that one. He's not. He was just straight around the corner again, takes the chow. And there you go. See a game attack fly at it. What a 3-piece.
Yeah. Nasty. Golf claps. Tippable. Hell of a round. Bounce back. Back and forth we go. This is what we want. This is what we need. This is Call of Duty Mobile, man. You know, we want to see that game 3, and Nonagon have to do everything in their power to take this one. Great bounce back round for themselves. Payoff now is we start to see things slow back down here for Revenge. Zuri in a pivotal position inside this trailer, who's gone massive. Steve trying to get a little bit of space. First blood is in. It's going to be 4G. Piecing it up in the middle of the map. Able to take down one in Bara. Opposing sniper. And Steve now got the setup here onto this A line of sight. Could be a good little setup here if they can get this bomb planted.
And that's the all-important question of can they get the bomb down. Zuri again locking down that site, able to get that pick, and it's now going to be, oh, there's another one as well for Zuri. Draka goes down, and Zuri's having a really good map at the moment for those important gunfight wins, and now it leaves Kiyosuke and Maba in a 2 versus 5. Not ideal here. The next pick's really got to be for Revenge here. Otherwise, this is going to be all doom and gloom. Curly around the corner, or the sniper out. Maybe he's not going to catch anyone with that. The machine pistol. Ooh, wow, he's going to whiz straight towards Devilman. Is he going to take the chow? He's going to pick up the Type 19 to maybe try and take it. Doesn't realize, though, that that player is on his left-hand side. And now Kiyosuke has a 1 versus 3, which is not going to be an easy thing to do.
We got the bomb.
No, indeed. Bomb's going to be collected. Carl's going to be there. He's going to be able to piece one up in the transition. That's going to be massive. Certainly going to be a little bit more doable. But again, 2 players spread across the middle of the map. This is where Kiyosuke is going to be able to just run right in between them. Nothing going to be held out. And with 4G right here out in the open, he's peeking. Gets caught with his pants down. And all of a sudden, Kiyosuke turned this round upside down. 1v3 for the clutch. It's all down to this gunfight right around the corner. It's Greatjoy. And he might get the COD timing of a life. Time indeed. Bomb's going to go down. He's going to get caught doing the act. Greatjoy shuts down the clutch.
Get ready for the next round.
And wow, I really wanted to see that one get clutched up by Kiyosuke, but that was just...
Yeah.
I mean, you're not anticipating that guy to be that there, right? You're playing your 2s if you're in a 1v2, right?
Yeah, I was surprised when because I thought he was going to try and play the bomb plant bait there, because it worked, because the player chowed the corner, but really good work there regardless. Nonagon, say in those important moments, they keep winning rounds, so 3-2 up they will go. And now you can see a completely different switch up again. Steve in middle, able to just completely whiz around with that machine pistol and take Zuri out. So 4G's going to reply with a pick onto Maba, and it will now mean that it's a 4 versus 4 situation. That bomb has been dropped over towards A. It hasn't been retrieved and planted just yet, though. That's the main thing, and you've got to keep an eye on Devilman, because he's worked his way in towards wood. And you've got his likewise number opposite Barra there with the sniper. Just going to be holding the pinch. So the next gunfight is going to be the key one. If you get this bomb down, it's going to be a case of just minding your angles and making sure you've got that info of where that player is. So Devilman, he might be the man to make the play.
Oh, could be. Oh, big gunfight. Draka wants to throw a shoulder at it. We'll see him next round. Barra, backline protector. Trades are through. Calls it in. Greatjoy, Curly combined for 2. That's going to be 1 left standing here for Steve. He's going to poke outside the trailer, and surely enough gets shut down. Instead of a tied matchup rolling into the split, we're rolling up 4-2 style, baby. Nonagon showing out. They are on the chopping block, chat, and surely enough, they are holding their own. 4-2 lead as we roll into the flip.
Again, it'll be interesting to see kind of now how their offensive rounds look, because if you're Nonagon, you're taking 4-2 going into the switch. So we'll see what they've got in their locker here on the offense. A lot of nades, a lot of tacticals flying down towards A as expected. Revenge going to be now on that defensive side. So again, first blood going to be the all-important one. It looks as though Nonagon are kind of take a similar approach in that they're just playing for that information and maybe hoping that the likes of 4G, who does have 7 limbs to his name so far, is able to maybe grab a first blood here. And it's going to be Devilman able to take down Kiyosoki. So the first blood goes in favor of Nonagon again.
Massive opener. What can they do with it, though? Not a bit of map control to show the least as of right now, and the time dwindling. They got to buckle up for a hit. Looks like the B site is where the approach is going to come. Jungle's being occupied by Zuri, who was a demon in the first 6 rounds inside the trailer site. Let's see if he can do something crazy. Minute left to go. Everything's starting to dwindle. I said B site. Well, hold the phones, my friend. It's going to be an A-long hit. Let's see how long they take to clear it on through. Player number 4 being the tip of the spirits. Greatjoy. Had a bounce-back game here in this one. So far, here comes the stun check or the smoke check. Barra's going to be able to find a first blood, and that's going to be Greatjoy actually shut down. So Barra now being the lone line of defense. Hold the phones. It's going to be Steve right onto the bomb site itself, and he's going to be pinched by 2, but through the smoke, they can't see him. Is he going to be able to play his life? Yes, he finds one in Curly, and Devilman going to be caught. What was he doing right there? That is a tough way to start. As we get the flip to come through, Steve gets away with highway robbery, and Barra now looking to shut down the last player. Zuri and 4G going to be able to combine for some team shots and get one, but Steve going to be able to shut down the push, leaves it down to 1. 4G going to be roundhouse kicked right to the face. 4-3. Still lead inside of the hands of Nonagon, but that was not a very confident round, to say the least.
Yeah, it was that kind of moment that Steve had where he was able to pick off 2 players. Essentially, that just saw the complete crumble of that round there for Nonagon. You would have assumed that it might have been some frantic comms or maybe just some communication that wasn't necessarily as clear, because he was on that bomb site pretty much a fish in a barrel, and unfortunately, no one shot at him apart from 1 player, and he managed to get the 2-piece out of nowhere. So Revenge take that round, and it looks as though it's going to be Draco at the backside of the site. He's able to get one before he does go down. So the trade there from Nonagon and the backside is going to be at least in their control for now. And you can see that Barry's just waiting for anyone to try and fly through. The bomb in the hands of Devilman, though. He's just keeping it on any player looking to try and pinch the nade here from 4G. Is he going to get anyone? Kiyosuke's going to manage to take Devilman down. So all of a sudden, you're looking now at potentially being trapped here in the site. They're pushing down that side of it, and it's going to be a case that they just absolutely pinch everyone towards the backside of that B bomb, and that is going to be a very, very clean round there from Revenge 4-piece.
Absolutely. We're going to be put on pause for just a moment. The action's not done, ladies and gentlemen. We just had a little bit of a crash. If you know, you know. It happens here in Call of Duty Mobile. Hopefully, we'll be able to get back into the action. It looks like we are tied up yet again there in that search or destroy. And again, Revenge, I mean, do a great job there on that B-side of push. I love the commitment out of Nonagon, but, you know, how things just happen. They were left, like, literally just twiddling their thumbs after they collect the bomb and push on through the site. It's a trap. Obviously, Revenge able to get a little bit of time, get the back lines as well as the front shut down. It's, you know, shooting fish in a barrel at that point. Nonetheless, we're all tied up on that regard. So far, so good there for both sides, but we get the flip, and you're starting to see a lot of, you know, how do we say it? A lot better of an approach there for the defending line site or attacking side or the defending side. Good God, from Revenge.
Yeah, I think it's a case now of Nonagon have got to be careful not to turtle up, because they've had opportunities to get the bomb down, and unfortunately, you could throw a net over pretty much 4 out of the 5 players when they hit some of these sites. There's so many players that they just they keep gifting little lanes of opportunity for Revenge to try and play the pinch. We saw it there where those 2 players hit the pinch instantly. They only had 1 player that was kind of watching flank, and as soon as that player falls, everything just crumbles down. So I think they're maybe giving Revenge a little bit too much respect in terms of kind of granting them a lot of map control, although they're kind of pushing towards the site. Once they clear that defensive player out, you would hope that they at least push the lanes out as we dive straight back in towards it. And whoa, there you go.
Okay.
It's going to be a blink, and it goes straight past Nonagon. I'll just shut up now because they've just taken that round as they've cleared everyone out.
There you go. I don't know what they did, but it worked perfectly. We'll see if they can continue to do this action. We want a crossfire control. We want this one to go to distance. We want boxing gloves out and at the ready. We want to see some Heads be knocked off. Payoff round. Bomb's going to be collected. Looks like some guns are going to be dropped there too and collected. We're looking for a buckle up door towards the jungle side of things, and stun or smoke rather going to be able to clear off the back lines. Player number 3, Steve, looking to go big. Trophy's going to get shut down right there. Here comes the hit. Oh, we can't see the gunfight, but it is Zuri who's going to be able to take advantage of it. They got the back lines to see what they can do with it this time, Major.
Well, now it's just a question, can they get the bomb down? Oh, Barra picks off 2. So again, the hesitation might really come back to bite them a little bit here. Greatjoy with a big pick, though, to take down Kiyosuke. 3v3. Again, do they stick or twist? Oh, there's the peak. Nice work, though, from Maber. His sniper's going to come out on top, and it's now going to mean that Nonagon are left in the 2 versus 3 situation. You still have that bomb in the hands of Curly, and he's going to try and maybe wrap it over towards the A site. So you're going to end up with a 2v2 situation at number 5 in Draka. He's going to be the man to play the info, watching the cross. Can he spot any of these players crossing over? No, he's not. So it should be a free plant over towards the A point if they get it down quickly.
It should. 45 seconds going to be time set. Let's see. Time's of the essence right here. The quicker you get this bomb plant down, the sooner you get inside that trailer and chuck your tails for dear life. That looks like the setup is going to be. They're going to play their 2s inside. We'll see how it goes. Good God, right in front of us. Nate shot through the window, and hello, Curly just watched it first person POV style. That is a tough way to start the 2v2. Nonetheless, 25 seconds still on the go. There's still 2 players left on the right-hand side of the screen, and they are certainly pushing a backside. Will they anticipate Curly here inside the trailer?
You would assume they would. I don't know whether they're baiting the defuse out here or whether they're going to just try and hop it and stick it. It looks as though now it's going to be on the bomb. And there's the 2-piece from Curly. What a round there from him. He's going to have the trauma of his teammate evaporating in front of his eyes. And he's able to turn it into something positive. Nonagon now 1 round away from seeing us into that map 3. Really good round there from Curly. Plays it patiently and it pays off.
One would say he got revenge for his own team. Oh, that is piss poor. I'm a sucker for low-hanging fruit. We'll see how low-hanging this one is afterwards. Draka open up with the first blood yet again. They open a fine 3. Holy hell, make it 4. The PKM. Unlimited ammo, it seems. Finally going to get shut down, but 4G. Oh, now trying to do the 1v5 on his own.
Oh, my God. Well, there you go. He said, have a backhand, mate. Wallop. Well, he's still got to go through 3 more players here, so we'll see if he can manage to turn this one into something spectacular. It looked as though, again, it was just going to be a round that Nonagon kind of gifted when we saw the kill feed just absolutely rack up there in favor of Draka. But 4G, he's now got to just try and see if he can find any sort of info. You're thinking if you're a Revenge here, you just don't give him anything to bite on because he's already cleared out 2 players. So you think dig your heels in, play it sweaty, play a corner, and then this round should be good for Revenge. But how many times do we see it in COD where some horrendous timing punishes you? Is he going to manage to get the quick scope? No, he's not. Barra is going to see him down the other side of his barrel, and it will be 6-5 now. So Nonagon haven't got it over the line just yet.
Nope, they haven't. See if they can tuck this baby in and push it back over towards the goal line. You win this round. If you're Nonagon, you're booking your tickets to Control. If you lose it, we're buckling up for some overtime. We'll see how it pans out now. Throwables at the ready. Lethal's being tossed on through. Curly left half health there after the grenade. And a little bit of a defensive reconstruction. Looks like they're going to be tossing 2 players, making towards that beat and modeling towards that back. Do you drag your feet and buckle up for this hit? Well, surely Zuri's going to be able to open up the floodgates. Let's see if they anticipate Steve being here.
Oh, Steve gets 2.
Oh.
Steve gets 2. Zuri's able to at least trade him out. So now you're left with a 3 versus 3. It's still doable here for Nonagon. But again, what did they decide to try and do with the bomb here? You've still got Kiyosuke inside towards the building. There's a big win, though, from Curly. Hello, it's on the horizon now. They've got to still clear out 2 remaining players. Can Barra make the play with the sniper? We've seen him clear off 2 players at a time. A couple of rounds now. But what are they going to try and do with this bomb? They're still just hesitating a little bit here. They've opted not to go for the quick wrap over towards the A site. Barra just holding that cross. But a big gunfight in middle. Map's going to ensue. Maber's able to make it a 2 versus 2.
Oh, just good into where Maba turns his neck at the proper time, and surely enough waits for that hit, and surely enough a lot of time has progressed and passed.
Right. 2v2. Curly. This bomb's got to go down. Nobody's going to be there. So what can they manage to work? Bomb goes down. Number 4 in Maber. He's going to be pushing up towards ramp. How will he get that next gunfight win? Is it going to be a deja vu here to see another Nonagon player get absolutely evaporated in towards that building? Maber is just still trying to push around to see if he can get any information. Those players both playing inside. Are they going to manage to get the first important pick? That's the main thing. Maber, he's the bait. In he goes. They're both checking their sides, and they manage to clear them both out. Each individual player wins their ones, and an absolutely perfectly oiled machine. Revenge take the round, courtesy of a huge moment there from Barra and Maber. A huge swing round, especially in the grander scheme of things. We now will progress in towards overtime. And Nonagon, oh man, potentially kicking yourselves in that one, because you had an opportunity there to maybe see that one out. So it will be Nonagon on the defense now. Nades, tacticals, all going over towards B. It is going to be Revenge. Going to slam the sledgehammer down at B. The first engagement. Where's it going to land? You've got number 4, I believe, in the back there for Nonagon, and it's going to be a kill that Greatjoy's able to get. One goes in. Devilman falls. It's carnage on the B site, and Revenge have got the numbers.
Revenge have got the numbers. Looks like they're going to just dip, though. And Kiyosuke just absolutely adds devastation to the fire, finding 2 more.
Wow.
The firing range, search or destroy, overtime. First round successful there from Revenge. They're trying to stomp their opponents out here, and they don't want to see that game 3 control. Let's see if they can get it done here on the payoff round. We flip sides, overtime. You must win 2 in a row in order for this one to be done. This could be the lines here for Nonagon. Their chances at a top 2 finish here in the grand scheme of things, not looking good based off of that last round.
Well, they're going B, and they're going to hit it heavy. There's going to be 2 players, potentially 1 later, though. Steve's going to go straight in the blender. There's going to be at least another player in Barra nearby. Can Barra get a kill? No, he can't. So they've completely crumbled on towards that B site. Devilman's going to get another one onto Maber. Revenge look as though they're not going to get it done in this round. Everyone is falling. It's all going to be down to Draka. But hello, there's 1, there's 2. Oh, there's 3. Hang on, hold the phone. Surely there's not a situation in which they bottle this one. This is such an opportunity now for Draka to make the play. 2 players are next to each other, but Zuri shuts him down, and Squeaky Bum Time does get a little bit squeaky, but they just about get it done.
I was about to call the damn police, man. There ain't no way in hell this guy's clutching it. Yeah. Oh, my God. All right. Here we are again. Payoff rounds. Both attack winning sides coming through. Both B approaches. It looks like it's going to be a diversion here for the side of Revenge. Everything's chucked out on towards it. Draka able to find another first blood with a nade. I think he's had at least 4 of those in this game. And hit over towards B. Going to be red invested, but it's going to be some kills on the front line there for Zuri as the hit over towards the A site. This defense has to get rolling. There's only 2 players on towards this rotation, and surely enough, this bomb plant's about to go down. It could be a clean one. 4v4 here for the retake. Zuri here for the first encounter.
Oh, there's the first. In towards he goes, and more importantly, he's got the section of the building that a lot of those defensive errors have come from. So really good work there from him. The wrap, though, going to be the important one. Maber is able to shut down 1 player. Does he realize that Devilman, though, is on his left? No, he doesn't. Devilman grabs the pick onto Barra. The pinch, though, red from Steve. Really good pick, and it's going to be Maber that grabs one as well. So now it's all on 4G. He gets the first pick, though, so makes it a 1 versus 1. But when you've only got 17 seconds left, you're anticipating that this player is going to wrap. He's got time to defuse the bomb. Is he going to have time? Steve's got to go. No, he's not got the time, and he's able just to get the defuse, and that is why you don't fake defuses.
Wow, pros don't fake it. That's a fact. That's not a myth. That is not a perception. That is 100%. Pros do not fake it. What a way to go. 4G clutches up for the boys. 14 kills to his name. 1v2 under his belt there, and he's got to be feeling it. 8 shots out. Nobody going to be able to get taken out off this transition. Over towards the B site we go. Stevie holding on for dear life. Able to find one as Curly is dropped. Investments here for this one. Already 30 seconds through. Make it 20. Draka going to be able to get the wall bangs from that wall on the opposite side. And surely enough, Kiyosuke going to be able to collect another. And all of a sudden, it's down to 2 here in blue. Make it 1. Greatjoy, clutch of Century here if he gets this one done.
I was going to say, they owe him a few pints if he manages to get this one done. He's got to try and play his life impeccably here to at least grab a couple of freebies. But if you're Revenge, you don't give him anything. Again, overtime, if Nonagon take this round through some miraculous play here from Greatjoy, overtime will not be extended, and we will go map 3. Peeks the corner. And unfortunately, there's two players ready and waiting for him over towards the B site. So you could see the intention that Nonagon were trying to do. But unfortunately, they just weren't quite able to execute it.
Oh boy, are we getting our money's worth here on this one? Wow, what a search and destroy it's been so far. 8-8, another round, another 2 rounds brought to you of overtime by first 2 attacking rounds and then the last 2 defending rounds. We'll see if this pans out here for one of these 2 teams. Bara opening up with the first blood, make it 2. Draka going to be able to find another, and that one's going to be the defense crumbling at its will. And now it's an all-out manhunt for the last 2. Mabel going to be able to find one. Curly going to be able to take down Draka. It's Curly, the last hope, not able to win his one there. And that one, and we are yet again on a position of Revenge shutting it down. Can they get the job done?
Yeah, this time Revenge have managed to take that offensive round. So the complete switch up to try and get a little bit more dominance through mid was just absolutely impeccable from them there. And now they find themselves 1 round away from taking this in a 2-0 fashion here in Group C. So opening first blood's going to be the important ones again. Nades over the top aren't going to collide with anyone to at least take that first blood. And it's actually going to be Devilman that falls on the side of Nonagon. Not ideal. Big pick, though, from 4G. Able to make it a 4 versus 4. But Draka again, maybe he's able to swing the tide. And Steve grabs one as well. It's all collapsing now for Nonagon. Just when you needed a moment of magic, it's going to be shut down from so many kills that Revenge are able to just tally up. And now, Greatjoy, he's got to have a great moment. They're spotting him. They've managed to take him down. And Revenge will get it done in a 10-8 fashion. Nonagon, congratulations to them through that search. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get it over the line, but my God, did they make a search and destroy out of that one.
Yeah, they did. 10-8, 18 rounds of search and destroy there in the firing range. Very typical performance out of boys over at Nonagon. Again, nothing to be scuffed at or be upset about. Obviously, your chances here at EACS are probably out the window, completely out the window. But again, good showing for your for that search and destroy. On the flip side of things, Revenge, signs of life there. They were looking, I mean, rather bleak in that search, if I'm being honest. So won't be able to see that scoreboard, but nonetheless, we just saw Steve put like 17 kills on board and did it with a PKM. Absolutely just devastating with that thing.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for Nonagon. Obviously, that is probably a, let's say it's not over for them 100%, I don't think, mathematically in the group, but obviously their next game is going to be a brutal one, which I believe is up against Animus. So it's going to be a rough one for them. But again, they can take some positives away from it. Verdict, I mean, in terms of kind of the performance there from Revenge, we were expecting a little bit more from them. It was a little bit of a sloppy search and destroy, to be honest. We would have expected kind of a bit more, I think, kind of commitment towards bomb sites. They gifted Nonagon a lot of opportunities as and when they kind of hit the site. They did kind of hesitate a little bit. I mean, it's not all doom and gloom for Revenge. Listen, they've got it done in a 2-0, but it does tee them up going into that instinct game, thinking, right, okay, we've probably got a lot to polish off for that one, because that's going to be the deciding game in this group for who takes second, most likely.
No, you're absolutely right. And you're taking a look at that matchup, the head-to-head from Instinct and Nonagon. What's to say that Nonagon hadn't made leaps and bounds of progression, though, since then, which hence brings us to this occasion here. Nonetheless, though, Instinct, I mean, there's no denying, their ability to perform. They did very well against Animus earlier on, and they handled business against Nonagon, as I just mentioned. So the matchup between those two next week will probably be the deciding factor in who's going to move forward 100%. If I have to guess myself, but hell, today was 2 O's across the board, but it felt like we got a little bit more of our money's worth there in that last series.
Yeah, I say shout out to all the teams on display today. They've put up some good maps, some good series. Regardless, it felt like it was almost going to go to a map 3, but unfortunately it wasn't to be the case. But that is going to be it from myself and Verdict this evening, guys. Thank you everyone who's tuned in. Shout out the guys at Atlas behind the scenes as well for Jake and Meg, because they've been doing all the button pressing while we just chat the waffle over the top. But that's going to be it from us in Group C this evening, guys. Tomorrow, same time, come back. We've got exclusive versus NATO and Troglodyte Tribe versus Monarchs in Group D, so you don't want to miss that one. But that's going to be it for us this evening. Thank you very much, guys, and we will catch you on the flip side for some more COD Mobile.